Second delivery of the over. It's pitched short, played away to cover for no run. And this game is heading forward to that inevitable draw. I think that would be a fairly decent result for Pakistan considering how things have gone in the past couple days. And a lot of that draw is going to come down to Azhar Ali's 141 not out in the first innings. They batted time, they stuck in there, and are in the position today that England could actually be on. Well, England would be very disappointed if they if there's a draw here. Obviously, because of the rain, they wouldn't have the complete overs that they would have on a typical Test match. Ramiz is here, Muhammad Abdullah Shahid is here, VK is here, Majid is saying, I see the bar stewards have pulled out all the stops for Jimmy's 600 wicket. Don't say inevitable, Musad. Yeah, well, true. 27 overs is a fair amount of cricket, and mind you, we do have the ability to extend that by 15 overs. And if England are anywhere close, they're definitely going to take that opportunity. Jofra Archer this time onto off stump of Azhar Ali for no run. With me, I've got Ahmed Jr. finally joining us on the commentary. AZ's taking a few hours off. Ahmed, how's it going?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yeah, it's been a rainy day. It's been quite a hot day in Dubai, though.
It's absolutely crushing heat in Dubai. 55 degrees today.
I mean, it's raining everywhere in India, Pakistan, and England. But the GCC, of course, it's going to be hot, as always.
Yep. Gopi Miyankawal saying last day of Test cricket for a while and last day of change of pace for a while. Well, I'll correct you on that because we're back on the 28th of August for the T20s between England and Pakistan. We'll be broadcasting those live as well.
Yes, sir. And change of pace
that's your
loves T20 cricket.
You love T20 cricket, Ahmed. You're an absolute master of T20 cricket commentary. Big Karachi Kings fan.
Talking about T20 cricket,
yeah.
We know that Zimbabwe, most probably it's not confirmed yet, but Zimbabwe is going to be touring Pakistan in October.
Yeah, that
next
should happen.
month, so that's going to be happening. I think they're one-day games though.
Yeah.
And they're going to
schedule. I think if there's a one-day tour, they'll have a couple of T20s in there as well.
Yeah, and they're actually scheduling the PSL around that time as well. They're trying to get that slot in. Mm-hmm. So October could be a month where we have Pakistan cricket back in it.
Yeah.
A little bit of Zimbabwe, a little bit of home tour.
And our next Test series is going to be in December, Emmett. And I'm not sure how we're going to cover that because Test matches in New Zealand start at 3 in the morning. It's going to be a difficult one. We might do the later sessions. Down the lakeside this time, shouldering arms is the Pakistan captain Azhar Ali, who has not been dismissed now over 3 days of cricket. Day 2, day 3, day 4, and now day 5. He's yet to give his wicket away.
I just hope Captain Azhar Ali and Babar Azam as the vice captain, they just go through today. Might as well just bat those 40, 44 overs if you look at them.
27 if we don't extend. 15
so
more if we extend. And I think that's a conversation between England and Pakistan. I don't think...
यहाँ तो अगर विकेटें गिर जाए तो फिर extend हो जाएगा.
फिर हो जाएगा exactly.
यही this is the basic rule I feel.
I don't think has finally watched Cake.
But who is this? Who decides on if there's going to be an extend or not, an extension of time or?
Well, it's between the two teams.
Okay.
And obviously the umpires have a say as well. So if it's bad light, it's bad light. That's only between the umpires and the light meter.
Absolutely.
However, if the light is not an issue, then both teams have to agree to stop playing. And obviously, if England have even 6 wickets here or 5 wickets here with 15 to play, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, you're right.
100 for 2 after 57.
Talking about wickets, here we have James Anderson with 599 wickets.
That's incredible. The pace bowler, the fast bowler with the most wickets in Test cricket history. It's only spinners above him. And we talked about this yesterday as Jimmy, first ball of the day, it's clipped away from Babar Azam to fine leg. He's got that short mid on, short mid off, a short mid wicket, first slip in place, fine leg as well. A lot of bad news coming from Karachi today, Ahmed. It's been a very difficult day.
मैं देख रहा था टीवी और वीडियोस हर जगह व्हाट्सएप पे आ रही हैं. Of course, फैमिली है वहाँ तो काफ़ी बुरा हाल है. बारिश, पानी. It's terrible to see such a big city that can thrive going in the downfall of rains.
Good defense there from Azhar Ali outside off. Helpless is the largest city in Pakistan today, and it hurts because were from there. Gopi Mian Kawal saying quite a defensive field set, no? Especially when runs are irrelevant. Yeah, maybe
I
a
feel
few more slips would have helped.
England's goal over here is just to get I mean James Anderson की 600 हो जाए, पहली बात तो यही है.
यार देखो अगर आपने खुद बात की है कि 27 और फिर 15 more, they should go for the kill.
They should.
It's Pakistan.
I think they will go for the kill because Anderson needs his wicket, so of course he's going for the kill anyways. And they know if they get to Pakistan's middle order, then they can definitely hit it up. We know no one has really performed this tour. They're gonna have to fight with Mohammad Rizwan a little bit. And if I would ask you, is Rizwan gonna perform this tour? You would probably said maybe. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
There was a question mark, as there's a question mark around Sarfraz Ahmed, but I think Rizwan has resoundingly answered those questions this tour, behind the stumps and with the bat in hand. And I think going forward, at least for the red ball format, for the foreseeable future, we should persist with Rizwan. 101 for 2, Jimmy Anderson, right arm over the wicket. And you mentioned the defensive field. It's not for the lack of creativity, though, but there is a short mid on and short mid off. And Gopi is saying, I really feel for Karachi and Houston. We are anticipating a hurricane on Thursday. Winds of up to 130 miles per hour. Goodness gracious. I hope you stay safe, Gopi. And Majid is saying, as a Pakistani born abroad, watching Pakistani films is always an eye-opening experience for me. It's always an insight into Pakistani society. I had so many thoughts watching Cake yesterday. Yeah, I thought that was one of the better movies coming out of Pakistan of late. Defended away to point in a quick single between Azhar Ali and Babar Azam, and a few journalists and a few of the Twitterati yesterday were chirping on about the run rate between these two, and the run rate for Pakistan in their second innings has only been 1.76. But obviously now, considering all the rain that's happened today and putting everything into hindsight, batting time was probably, well, ideally the best thing for Pakistan, and they've done that successfully. 102 for 2.
Azhar Ali 30 runs off 102 balls, so we were just talking about that run rate. We can talk about that strike rate, but yeah, it's rained, and a lot of people in Pakistan are disappointed of the match. I know some people are a little bit optimistic of how things went, but I don't know a lot of them. Most people are sort of disappointed कि भाई मैच तो हम हार गए हैं, मैच क्यों देख रहे हैं आप लोग, क्या फायदा है.
See, that's interesting because Test cricket
ये बड़ा मसला होता है.
With the introduction of T20 cricket, I think there's been a lot of good things in cricket, but one of the scenarios that I've seen is that a lot of people, Barsat ke Mendigo ki tarah, they'll watch a lot of PSL, they'll watch a lot of T20 cricket. They won't actually sit and watch the majority of the test play, and then they'll go out and comment on it and say, yaar, strike rate slow tha, और मतलब जीतने के लिए खेले.
It's a whole different dynamic. पहली बात तो लोगों को समझनी पड़ती है कि dynamic ही पूरा अलग है test cricket का और one-day का.
Good slower one from Archer.
And you know what? I don't mind if someone is watching PSL Pakistan. कोई पाकिस्तानी जो PSL सिर्फ देख रहा है, ठीक है भाई. It's a festival for Pakistan now. The PSL is happening. It's sort of a party mood, like the CPL is, like how the IPL is in India. Everyone's on it because it's happening in your country now.
But the point that I'm trying to make is Test cricket is a very complex format of the sport. Cricket in itself, I feel, is pretty complex. Then you add the dimensions that Test cricket has, and it makes it even more difficult. Keeping that into perspective, you cannot judge how the day went based off of highlights, and certainly not the scorecard. If you were to pull out the scorecards of the Pakistani fast bowlers of this series, you would think that it was a failure, it was a poor series, where in fact that is just not the case. If you've sat here and watched the 3 test matches, the cricket that we've had, almost all three of our, I can conclusively say all 3 of our fast bowlers have bowled to their plans, bowled very consistently, and have given very little to the English batsmen.
मैं तो वैसे वो उसकी भी वीडियो देख रहा था, शोएब अख्तर की भी वीडियो आई हुई थी. And you know what? After Pakistan's bowling was over, even Shavy didn't have much to say in his video. It was a 6-minute video, but you know what? पहले तो वैसे कहता ना कि bouncer करो ये करो, उसका हाँ थोड़ा सा था, दिलेरी दिखाओ, and he's very angry. But उस वक्त जो था ना, उसने कहा कि हाँ bouncer नहीं करवाया, ये नहीं कर, ये bouncer नहीं किए, थोड़े of course तनकीद तो करनी है, क्योंकि आपको फिर तो शो बनाना है, जाहिर है फिर वो YouTube views भी तो चाहिए.
बट क्यों तनकीद करनी है? आप ये भी कह सकते हो कि देखिए
यार उसका मंजन इस चीज़ के ऊपर है, you know he has to say something. अगर वो शाबाशी देगा तो फिर क्या फ़ायदा वीडियो का?
शाबाशी नहीं दें, आप ये बोलें कि maybe the field placement could have been better, maybe
his whole thing was कि भाई aggression होना चाहिए था bowling के अंदर, और काफ़ी लोग समझते हैं कि भाई line length पे bowling की है, मेहनत की है, but results नहीं आ रहे थे unfortunately.
Can you imagine the first test, Ahmed, that Shaheen Shah Afridi was even more accurate than Mohammad Abbas?
बिल्कुल.
Shaheen has been an absolute phenom.
And his first test in England, basically his first test series in England.
Yep. Bouncer from Archer. We're into the third over of the day. Pakistan looked very comfortable. And again, people talking about Azhar Ali and people talking about playing for the draw. Mind you, for that 141, yes, he looked troubled for those first 20-30 runs. He has not looked back since. He has not given England a single chance for his wicket, and he's been very resolute in his defense.
For my problem with Azhar Ali right now is कि अभी इसने सीरीज के अंदर 141 की है.
Good defense from Azhar Ali getting on top of that. Okay.
और शान मसूद से भी थोड़ा सा आप किस दो, because Azhar Ali is a senior player. Shan Masood hasn't been as frequent, you could say, but even with Shan Masood, this is a problem I have. 151 by Shan Masood.
156, yeah.
156, sorry, and 141 I believe not out by Azhar Ali.
Yeah.
अब तो सीरीज खत्म हो गई, चलो दूसरा टेस्ट ड्रॉ हो गया था, मतलब बारिश हो गई थी, कोई फ़ायदा भी नहीं हुआ उसका. अब न्यूजीलैंड के टूर के अंदर जाके अगर इन्होंने स्कोर नहीं किया ना, तो फिर ये ज्यादती होगी.
Oh, an attempted pull from Azhar and hit him, I think, in the jewels. He's going to have to go down. The furniture has been disturbed.
It's time to get the med kit.
यार इसमें अब क्या मेड किट इस्तेमाल करेंगे, यहाँ तो अहमद लगती है तो क्या दर्द होती है, क्या बोले आपको,
क्या कह सकते हैं.
आपको कभी लगी है वैसे इधर
यार अब
फुटबॉल के दौरान?
मार्क्स 102 for 2.
आप बैडमिंटन खेलते हैं उसमें तो वैसे नहीं लगेगी
यार. बैडमिंटन इज अ वेरी गुड स्पोर्ट.
It is fun to play. 102 for 2 and Azhar Ali just getting his balls in order.
ये तो मैं क्या कह रहा था कि अजहर जो नेक्स्ट सीरीज है वो न्यूजीलैंड के अंदर है. मसला ये पाकिस्तान की कंसिस्टेंसी चाहिए यार. ये क्या 140 करके फिर भाग गया, वही वाली बात हुई. देखिए आप लोगों ने कहा कि 141 का बहुत अच्छा नॉक था, ठीक है. मैं समझता हूँ कि ठीक है 141 के पिछले 2 मैच आपने कुछ नहीं किया. एक इनिंग आपकी दूसरे मैच के अंदर भी थी और 2 इनिंग्स आपकी थी पहले मैच के अंदर. तो आप नहीं करे तो फिर ये तो नहीं होगा ना, फिर वही होता है 100.
I'll tell you what, Azhar Ali and Shan Masood are very different players. In this case, Azhar Ali.
Shan Masood से नहीं मैं कंपेयर कर रहा. अभी Azhar Ali
की मैं जो बात करूँ, before the miss you era, he was averaging 47. He was a class batsman, 6,000 runs in Test cricket. Behind the Pakistani greats comes Azhar Ali. अगर आप Yunus,
ठीक है नहीं, Brian Lara ने भी ट्वीट किया इसके बारे में. It's a big thing, you know.
Yunus, Inzamam, Yusuf. Right after them, it's actually Azhar Ali, whether you like it or not. Yes, he's been very inconsistent for the past year and a half. Doesn't take away from the fact that he's a great batsman, and I think that once he gets back into the groove, which he clearly has, getting runs in England on any surface is not easy, and he's done that now. However, going to New Zealand and Australia is a completely different ball game. I'll give you an example of that. 102 for 2 here. As again, nothing bothering Azhar and Babar here. They're resolute in defense. 59.2 overs gone. अगर यूनुस ने लॉर्ड्स में जब इंग्लैंड में जब 216 किए थे आफ्टर अ बैड रन ऑफ फॉर्म, ही couldn't carry, or even Misbah couldn't carry that form down to Australia or New Zealand. बॉल ज़्यादा बाउंस होती है, उनके बॉलर्स के पास पेस भी ज़्यादा है. इट्स अ completely different ball game. So that doesn't take away from Azhar Ali, but yeah, I also agree कि especially with Shan Masood, भाई अगर आपने पहली इनिंग में 156 किए थे, you should have been Pakistan's top scorer.
Yeah, चलो आप
he's not Pakistan's top scorer. Rizwan is Pakistan's top scorer.
हाँ बस वाकई. और अच्छे थोड़े रन करते वो आ गया ऊपर रिजवान. डेफिनेटली. और ये बात भी है कि चलो अजहर अली का तो अभी 140 हुआ है.
Exactly.
शान का तो पहले मैच के अंदर पहली इनिंग के अंदर हो गया था 156. So it is slightly disappointing from Shan Masood, not slightly, but it's quite disappointing.
It is quite disappointing because we thought we had unearthed something in Shan that we'd never seen before, and he was coming off of runs within Pakistan, right? Driven beautifully, Babar Azam, the first glorious shot onto the offside, beating the covers, and he looks so good when he plays that. Obviously, the wet outfield, so it won't go all the way, and they should pick up. I think they picked up 3.
Bilkul.
Yes, they have. 105 for 2. Emma, the comments are coming in about the time that these gentlemen have been hit in the furniture, hit in the nuts.
Acha.
And VK keh rahe hain, he's got hit playing tennis. That's the ball comes at pace. Exactly. Gopi Mia Kowal, I've gone hit right in the jewels in the tape ball cricket. Oof. I can almost feel that.
Ye kya baatein ho rahi.
105 for 2. Good defense from Azhar Ali's. Looks unbothered. 105 for 2. Jimmy Anderson, 1 away from that 600 wicket mark. What a massive moment that would be in the history of cricket, not just James Anderson, Emmett. And they're talking about it on the BBC last night.
So
what
just-
a privilege it would be
Hmm.
if wicket number 600 was Babar Azam.
अस्तगफिरुल्लाह, अल्लाह माफ़ करे, ऐसी बातें नहीं करें. हमारे बाबर आजम ने भी कोई रन नहीं किया स्टोर के, अगर आप देखें
नहीं देखिए,
एक मैच का
69 किया
69.
था,
हाँ तो क्या हम
एक 46 किया था,
हाँ चलो ठीक है, बस दो.
but he should have had 100.
चलो ठीक है, 69 and 46 saves him,
Yeah.
but it doesn't put him on the good pedestal, I feel.
But speaking of failures this tour, Emmett,
Hmm.
how often is that England and Pakistan play a 3-match test series and you're able to say that Pakistan's fielding was a lot better than England's?
जी जी.
And especially behind the wicket in the slips and the keeping, both Rizwan and Pakistan slips have been like quite significantly
वाकई
better
सही
than
बात है.
England's.
इंग्लैंड से आप कंपेयर करो, इंग्लैंड ने कितने कैच ड्रॉप किए एंडरसन के, कोई 3 तो एंडरसन के ड्रॉप किए थे,
Yeah.
कोई हद मचा दी थी उन्होंने बेचारे की. इतनी जो भी है, अगेन ही इज गेटिंग दैट 600 मार्क.
Yeah.
सो
AZ has not made the drive to the studio today because we only have an hour's or 2 hours worth of play if the rain does not interrupt. So let him off the hook on this one, but he'll be back for the T20s.
एब्सोल्युटली
28th, the 30th, and the 2nd, Emmett. Any predictions for the T20s?
यार ये तो आपने काफ़ी अच्छा सवाल पूछा है.
Yeah.
Predictions for the T20. I think once they announced the squad, have they announced the squad?
The
They have,
17
right?
have been announced.
Yeah. The 17 names have been announced, but I feel कि पता चलेगा किधर किधर है वो. मैनचेस्टर के अंदर है.
I think they're all
Yeah, that
in
is.
one location, and they might just be in the Aegeus. I have to take a look.
I don't know. It's hard
No,
to.
one of them is in Manchester, I know.
Pakistan are a quite good T20 side.
Under
And you know
Sarfraz,
people
yeah.
like Imad Wasim, Muhammad Amir, Shadab Khan.
Yeah.
These guys are all eager to play. You know, they're not
Exactly.
there in the test team anyways.
Yeah.
तो उनका तो काम है कि भाई आओ भाई, हम तो कितने महीने से आए हुए हैं, अब 3 मैच हमने खेले टेस्ट. उनके दिमाग में ये होगा भाई टेस्ट वाले तो नहीं जीते, हम जीत के दिखाते हैं. You know, it's they're both playing for Pakistan, but there's a difference there, and Pakistan are really good in T20s. Personally मैं चाहता था कि भाई सरफराज को विकेट कीपर बना दो, because I've seen he's very interactive. बट क्या फ़ायदा जब वो
The
रन ही
problem
नहीं
is
कर रहा.
that
तो
if you compare,
नहीं तो आप मुझे ये बताओ फिर उसको सेंट्रल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट भी क्यों दिया है ना, ये भी तो अजीब
like,
सही कहानी
it's
है.
a weird,
It's a very weird dynamic. अब you cannot take Rizwan away from the situation at all.
you can't.
अब आप उसको T20 में कैसे नहीं खिलाओगे, वो इतने अच्छे
नहीं, मैं
कैच
आपको
दे रहा है.
बताता हूँ कैसे नहीं खिलाएंगे. As a bouncer gets underneath his Babar Azam. The problem is that you have to define the role of the wicket-keeper batsman in each format.
ठीक है.
In Test cricket, what I would say is that you're looking for a better wicket keeper than a batsman, in the sense that the wicket keeping ability, because you can end up, wicket keeping for 180 plus overs, has to be airtight.
बिल्कुल
Okay?
स्लिप
Now,
जो होते हैं. हाँ.
I won't get into one-day cricket right now because it's a bit of a middle format, but especially in T20 cricket, when you're only keeping for 20 overs, beautiful on drive by Babar Azam, and long on, Amiran will give chase, and again, that slow, damp outfield will stop it from going from 4. Nothing wrong with the timing there. Come back for a couple more, Babar Azam. 110, 108 for 2 now, are Pakistan. And the thing about T20 cricket is the question is, should you prioritize a complete wicketkeeper, or should you prioritize a batsman that can actually give you quick runs anywhere in the order? And we were having this conversation. I think one of our listeners, Sarosh, was listening in, and he said that maybe it's better to play somebody like Khushdil Shah instead of Rizwan or Sarfraz, because Rizwan and Sarfraz both have a similar problem. They're not going to clear the ropes. They're not six hitters. In fact, they're not even going to get regular boundaries on the run.
जी.
So they're very good between the wicket. They're quick, 1 or 2 runs. So the best option, I think, for Pakistan is to play a batsman wicketkeeper, the likes of Khushdil Shah, or even try out Rohail Nazir. You need impetus in the batting. You need big hitters. You need boundaries consistently in those T20 games.
वैसे लेके तो आए हुए हैं रोहेल नज़ीर को,
खुशदिल शाह को भी लेके आए हुए हैं.
टूर पे लेके आए हुए हैं, खुशदिल शाह को भी लेके आए हुए हैं. बट यार आई फील कि देखो, इफ़ यू नीड अ T20 विकेट कीपर, इनको एटलीस्ट एक फ्रेंचाइज के अंदर दे शुड बी प्लेइंग इन द PSL, you know.
Yeah.
We know Pakistan has this
भाई,
T20.
मैं उस दिन ये
We
कह
know
रहा
we
था
have
कि
this
if
wicket keeping problem.
Rizwan is not even first choice for Karachi Kings. Down the leg side, it's flicked away by Azhar Ali, and there's a fine leg in place. They have a trap set for Azhar Ahmed to Jimmy Anderson,
जी.
and I actually saw this in last year's, I think it was, the last year's Ashes, that they were keeping a short fine leg just at the edge of the circle, and then they would ball down the leg side, and it actually worked for one of the wickets. I can't remember who it was.
अच्छा स्लाइड सी कि बस वो शॉट खेले तो.
Yeah, it's a poor delivery actually, but sometimes it carries to that short fine leg position. मास कह रहे हैं लाइट नहीं है. You guys are my only hope for any updates. कराची डूब गया है जी.
बिल्कुल हमें
और ये-
अफसोस है ये सुन के.
A lot
और
of prayers
देखा
for
भी हमने.
Karachi.
61 overs in 109 runs for Pakistan so far with 2 down. The 2 that were down, Shan Masood and Abid Ali.
Yep.
Azhar Ali at 31 off 112 balls with Babar Azam chilling around 11 off 26. James Anderson coming
Babar
in.
Azam, that's a good way to put it. He looks like he's chilling around. Never looks disturbed with the crease. So
ये अच्छी
calm,
बात है उसकी,
so
बिल्कुल.
cool, so collected. And I've listened to a lot of Babar Azam interviews, and he's constantly say that he's very happy when he's out in the middle. He enjoys his batting. And that's a trademark trait of all great batsmen.
बात ये थी कि अगर बाबर इस टूर के ऊपर 100 कर देता ना एक, तो उन लोगों का 140 150 नहीं, हमें जो बाबर का 100 है ना,
Yeah.
वो हमें देखना है, वो हमें चाहिए.
आपको इस सीरीज में तो नहीं मिलेगा.
अब तो नहीं मिलेगा, but it's fine. He's playing T20s.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Edged and taken. There's the first wicket of the day. It's 600 wickets for James Anderson, the first pacer in Test cricket history to do so. And he gets the Pakistan captain, who's just scored 31 off 114. But this moment is not about Pakistan or Azhar Ali. This moment is about the great, the magnificent, the GOAT, James Anderson. You can call him whatever you want. You can call him Clownderson. You can call him all sorts of conditions. But at his age, with his ability to get 600 Test wickets, it is, dare I say it, a phenomenal achievement from James Anderson. Take a bow, and he has surpassed some of the greatest pacers of all time. He has now become the pacer with the most wickets in this beautiful game.
What a way to get it. He got Azhar Ali on 31. We're just talking about England scoring a big total on the board, giving James Anderson what he deserves, getting all those wickets against Pakistan, and he's actually done it today. And what a
Huge moment.
poor
And I know
shot
people
by
are
Azhar Ali.
commenting about Azhar and the way he's played and all that.
क्या
But just
बकवास
take a
shot.
moment, respect the opposition, give it to Jimmy Anderson.
Jimmy Pio nu deo.
Remember, he debuted Emmett in that series in 2005, that glorious Ashes series. It's been 15 years of Test cricket. And we talked about this in the past, that fast bowling is physiologically against what the human body is meant for. But this man has fought time, he's fought the haters, he's fought everything in his path to get to this position today. 600 wickets. And take a look at all of them that Sky Sports are showing now, Emmett.
I mean, think about it, man. This guy's been playing Test cricket for so long.
Yeah, wicket number 100 was Jack Callis for Jimmy with that beautiful faux hawk, Emmett. Gorgeous
यार.
hair. Dinesh Ramden, wicket number 384 to go past Ian Botham
मतलब
to become
कितने लोग
England's
हैं?
highest ever wicket taker in Test cricket. There it is, the thumbs up from the man. Mohammad Shami was wicket number, can't read it, 500 to go past McGraw. He has become an all-time great, arguably the greatest fast bowler of all time in terms of longevity in the career that he's had.
आप ये बताएं कि भाई 600 विकेटें यार,
Yeah.
कैसे बंदा ले जाता है, और टेस्ट क्रिकेट के अंदर वो भी,
It's
और
a-
आप कह रहे हैं फास्ट बॉलर,
It's
मतलब
a feat. It's a feat, and it defines all logic of fast bowling. It defines
बिल्कुल.
all logic of time.
इस
And
पे
for
तो-
all the young kids watching out there that want to play for the 100 and the PSL and the BBL and the IPL,
and the big bash.
nothing will come close to the glory that this man has achieved for his country. 600 Test wickets. This is a name
इसको
we're
तो
going to
प्लॉट देना
remember.
चाहिए अभी इसको प्लॉट दिलवाओ, डीएचए से प्लॉट दिलवाओ, हर
क्या
जगह से
हो
दो
गया?
यार
क्या
इसको.
हो
600 विकेटें ली यार, मजाक तो नहीं है.
Unbelievable.
शेबी ने बोला
Edged.
ट्वीट मारे.
And it goes between gully and slips to third man, and this one will, I think, make it to the boundary. No,
इतनी
good.
जाती है, बारिशें करा करा के हर बॉल जो बाउंड्री तक पहुंचती है, जो टीवी पे नहीं देख रहा, और बस वो रुक जाती है क्योंकि वो फील्ड ही ऐसी बनी हुई है. And here comes a legend, Asad Shafiq is in, who has done
Legend
nothing.
बना दिया आपने.
Who has done nothing in this series.
यार थोड़ा मतलब he hasn't looked bad. He's just not gotten starts.
बस भाई लुक बैड या लुक गुड नहीं, रन्स किए हैं नहीं किए.
Wow.
हकीकत तो ये है.
Bringing down the hammer. अब तो बिल्कुल मुदस्सर नजर की तरह आईसीसी एकेडमी में हो
ऐसा
गए.
ना करो.
England cap number 613. Jimmy Anderson has gone out to take 600 wickets. Unbelievable.
वो भी, इसका भी स्ट्रेस खत्म हो गया है, रिलैक्स हो गया है. अब
An
उसने कहा कि
average-
अब मैं दिखाता हूँ बॉलिंग क्या होती है.
Average of 26.77. That is remarkable. Those numbers are just unsurmountable. Let me just give you an idea, Emmett, of what
जी, बताएं.
what his career has looked like He's played 156 test matches.
यार आप balcony में पहले देखें. Sorry to interrupt you. Shane Warne, the great Waz.
Kalai God. And to do it in some incredible company.
हाँ भाई.
Such
वसीम भाई
revered
के
company.
सामने वो भी यार 600 विकेटें. मतलब ये तो
वसीम भाई भी 414 है मतलब ऐसी बात नहीं है.
Absolutely.
156 test matches, Emmett. 600 wickets. He's got 7 in the match now. An average of 26.94. Economy of under 3. And take a look at that. To applaud him for that achievement, he's got Shane Warne and Wasim Akram. What a bowling pair they would have made. Deliveries to 600 wickets. Mutaya Muralidharan 33,711. James Anderson 33,717. And Shane Warne and Anil Kumble with a few thousand more. But it's a different ball game for a fast bowler, and I'm specifically using the term fast bowler because even in this test match, I mean, he's been bowling at 85 miles per hour. Don't confuse him for a trundler.
इसकी एज क्या होगी जेम्स एंडरसन की अब?
38 years of age.
अभी तो
38
है 4
years
साल लगा
young.
सकते हो मिसबा के हिसाब से.
Majid Karim Musad, you're so busy praising James Anderson, you're not noticing we're going to lose this test match.
यार अब तो होएगा, अब क्या कर सकते हैं.
यार क्या बात है, कौमी हीरो है हमारे.
कौमी हीरो हमारे.
James Anderson 7 for 42, his best.
यार जब ये लिस्ट दिखाई उन्होंने लीडिंग विकेट टेकर्स, अनफॉर्चुनेटली कोई पाकिस्तानी का नाम नहीं आता उस लिस्ट के अंदर. अब
It's about the number of matches you play as well. Pakistan of late don't really play a lot of tests. And to be honest, the reality is the last time our fast bowler got 200 wickets was Waqar Yunus.
ये तो बहुत दूर
So it's been a while. For a country that goes on and on about its pace talent, we haven't even had a Kemar Roach level that fast bowler. 112 for 3.
ये तो आपने काफ़ी खतरनाक बात बताई है हमें आज.
Jofra Archer continuing, good defense. और हमें हमारी तरफ पेसर हैं जो 127 पे ऑफ कट कराते हैं टेस्ट क्रिकेट से. 27 years of age में रिटायरमेंट ले लेते हैं.
हाँ भाई 27 पे ही, मतलब ये माशाल्लाह 38 का है. वो तो 11 साल छोटा है उससे. शर्म नहीं आती उसको.
Anyways, we won't get into that. You have to safeguard your financial future. That's fair enough.
चलो ठीक है.
62.3 और आपका किंग्स का प्लेयर है मतलब आपको तो
हमें तो चाहिए यार, हमें ज़रूरी है. अब क्या करें, इस दफ़ा जीतनी नहीं है. Ladies and gentlemen, October, it's gonna happen.
It's happening in October?
Yeah, most probably.
The rumors? Are you on the phone with Salman Iqbal?
जी सल्लू भाई के साथ तो हमेशा फ़ोन पे होते हैं.
Okay.
सल्लू भाई ने कहा कि अक्टूबर जो है, because we have players coming for the IPL
Right.
in the UAE, so that's supposed to end I think late October or somewhere around that.
Right.
So we can grab the players on the way back to England
Okay.
and wherever, because most of them were English
Grab
players.
अब तक हैं सब किडनैप करके लेके जाएंगे उनको पाकिस्तान.
UAE आएंगे, एक फ्लाइट है भाई. आपको पता है शारजा की ट्रैफिक और कराची पहुंचना कौन पहले पहुंचेगा?
Good point.
कराची पहुंचेगा बंदा पहले.
सही बात है.
These are facts.
Good bouncer from Archer. Getting underneath it is Asad Shafiq.
So the goal is to get those players and finish the tournament what we've been all waiting for.
112 for 3. The subplot of this test match has been completed. Jimmy Anderson has got his 600 test wickets.
I think you guys should all remember that we are still trailing by 198 runs.
The runs don't matter. I mean, it's all about the overs.
ओवरात नहीं यार, थोड़ा तो करो ना.
Clipped away to the leg side, no run. And speaking of overs, we have 36 more to go. But again, those last 15 might not be taken.
तो realistically जो है वो तकरीबन
21?
Yes, around
21 overs. I mean, Pakistan should be able to survive that. I know Majid has already stepped onto the panic button.
वैसे यार करना भी पड़ता है. माजिद भाई ने सही
फैजान कह रहे हैं expect Asad to score some useless runs and remain not out. भाई अगर वो टेस्ट मैच ड्रॉ करते तो useless किस तरह है?
यार वो मुझे नहीं पता क्यों रिजवान नहीं कर सकता बैटिंग. अगर वो आउट हो जाए क्या फ़र्क पड़ता
तो
है?
आप कह रहे हैं आउट हो जाए? आप चाहते हैं आउट हो जाए?
मैं चाहता हूँ आउट होए, हारिस सोहेल इसकी जगह ले जाए घर, अब बैठे कुछ करे, अब बंदोबस्त करे जैसे आमिर ने अपना बंदोबस्त किया अपने दूसरी कमाई
वो
का.
कौन सा 2020 प्लेयर है? 112 for 3.
वो उसकी गलती है.
What a shot! The Kalais from Babar Azam to fine leg for a single. And look, even now, Ahmed, when Pakistan have their backs to the wall and the runs really don't matter, Babar Azam is constantly milking the singles to the leg side and even played a beautiful drive earlier in on day 5.
वैसे थोड़ा सा अजीब कॉम्बिनेशन है जो ये मिस यू का जो कॉम्बिनेशन है,
Yeah.
जो आप देखते हैं they're very happy when Azhar Ali got those runs and thing, and usually I don't think when you look at staff like वकार यूनुस को आप देखते तो उसका 100 हुआ था 140 होता, he was fine, you know, he was just sitting at the back chilling के मतलब I feel that there's just that certain what do you call experience वकार
Flipped
still
away
has.
by Asad Shafiq to fine leg, and it should run away. No, good fielding. I know. With Zach Crawley doing the fielding, they should come back for a couple.
ये बड़ा जालिम प्लेयर है क्रॉली, हमने बना दिया उसको इस साल.
रमीज कह रहे हैं फवाद should be the reason to draw this match. कुछ तो करे वो 11 साल बाद आकर.
हाँ ये भी बात है. अब असद शफीक, फवाद आलम, मसला ये है कि आप मैच जीते हो तो फिर लोगों की खामियां छुप जाती हैं. जब आप मैच हारते हो तो फिर आप ज़ाहिर है फिर सारी खामियां बाहर आती हैं. एंड दिस इज़ हाउ क्रिकेट वर्क्स अनफॉर्चुनेटली एंड फॉर्चुनेटली in both ways.
And with out of 10, how would you rate this tour for Pakistan? There's been a lot of extra variables.
Test tour jo
yeah, the 3 test matches, the coronavirus, the lockdown, then rain. On the second test match was also washed out. How would you rate this tour as out of 10?
Out of 10 like as in Pakistan's performance?
Yeah, Pakistan's
overall
performance.
पहला मैच जीतना
What would you
चाहिए
give
था.
them? What would you give
पहला
them?
मैच जीतना चाहिए था. 6 दे देंगे चलो.
6 out of 10, huh?
हाँ
It's a pretty good rating.
ये 5 दे देंगे चलो.
अब ये कम कर लिया.
दूसरा जो है वो मैच ही ड्रॉ हो गया. अब चलो बारिश हो गई, दूसरे मैच में क्या कह सकते
आप
हैं.
बताएं 5 है या 6 आप डिसाइड करें.
सोचने दो ना, थोड़ा टाइम दो.
Get back to you. Maybe we'll ask the comments. What are you going to give Pakistan out of 10 for this test series?
मसला ये है कि शान मसूद ने एक 150 की, बट उसके बाद उसने कुछ नहीं किया. अजहर भाई ने आखिर में आके कर दी है. बाबर भाई जो है हमारे बीच में, उन्होंने 69-46 किया है. बॉलिंग वाज ओके, वाज गुड.
Yeah, VK is saying 6.
5 ही समझ लो, मैं तो 5 ही दे दूंगा. 50-50 ठीक है.
Well left by.
आप बताएं आप क्या देंगे.
Yeah, I would give them a 6 as well.
मैं तो 5 दूंगा.
I think they've been
6 की नहीं है,
slightly
6
above.
की नहीं है यार.
I think they've been slightly above average, and the first test was really not a.
बाउंसर नहीं दिया ना पहले टेस्ट के अंदर. दिलेरी नहीं दिखाई.
क्या
दिलेरी नहीं दिखाई यार पहले टेस्ट के अंदर. ये अहमद हसन भी मुझसे मेरी बात मानेंगे.
बुलाते हैं
थोड़ी
आप
सी
एक-
बॉलिंग के अंदर दिलेरी
अहमद
नहीं
हसन को
दिखाई.
बुलाते हैं.
तो वरना थोड़ी दिलेरी दिखा दे. थोड़ा सा कोई स्विच होता तो
Which
नहीं किया, वो नहीं चीज़ नहीं किया. तो इसलिए 6 से 5 में.
scored it down a fine leg for a quick single. Crawley there doing the fielding. 64 overs gone. Pakistan 116 for 3. Change in the com box. Ahmed Hassan into the attack.
The nepotism has been
Ahmed
removed from the attack.
Jimmy Anderson 600 wickets. Sum it up for us.
I don't think there's anything that can be said. Look at the company that he's in. It's all spinners, and then Jimmy Anderson, 156 matches, 600 wickets. I don't think any fast bowler would have imagined reaching that peak, reaching that pinnacle, reaching that mark. But Jimmy, with consistency, persistence, and for a bowler who's been known to only be an English track bully, to have gone on to pick up 600 wickets is remarkable.
Is that a fair criticism of him?
I don't think it is. I think he's been slightly better overseas than people expect in terms of stats.
His average is still 32, 33 overseas, including India, Dubai, and the UAE.
Exactly. I mean, how many bowlers do you have from these English and Australian countries that have
That can
gone
do
on to
that.
have real success there? So he's done well. He's been a good exponent of reverse swing as well. So he's prospered in those conditions. Not as much as obviously the English conditions, but it's been a remarkable journey for him.
On the back foot, defended away 2 point for
And
no
I mean,
run.
by the time he ends his career, he'll definitely be number 3. If he plays for another year or so, he might even be number 2 behind Shane Warne, because he only needs 20 more wickets to get to
20 more wickets.
If he gets to 620, he overtakes Anil Kumble. So imagine having
Ridiculous.
Muralidharan, Shane Warne, and then Jimmy Anderson in the top 3.
And right now in world cricket, you have a bit of a gander. I mean, you have Jasprit Bumrah is very talented, and India played a lot of test matches, but doesn't play at home. Nobody's nearing. Nobody's just. You can't even put a finger on me like ये हो सकता है कर सके.
हो ही नहीं सकता
So
यार.
far.
15-17 साल का उसका करियर है. मतलब एक तो definitely the number of matches that England do play, that helps, but also the consistency that he's shown. It's not just a matter of the number of matches you play. Shan Sharma ने भी जो है वो 90 मैच खेले हैं, उसके 200 wickets हैं अभी. So in that aspect, he'd have to play 3 times the matches just to get to this amount of wickets, which is not the case. And the longevity, plus again at 38 years of age, this man is coming out and bowling at 86 miles per hour.
Exactly.
He's matching Archer.
Leading edge, it's scored it between gully and slips. Should run down a third man for at least a couple. They might come back for a third.
Yeah, it's not
No,
just like
it's just
one delivery that goes to that that pace or whatever. He's
No, it's
consistently
constantly.
bowling spells at that pace, and again the control that Jimmy shows with the ball, even when it's not swinging, or even when there's not a lot of seam movement to
I think
be had.
sometimes I'm actually frustrated when we're talking about Jimmy Anderson because he cuts such an ordinary figure on the field.
Yep.
You take a look at some of the fast bowling greats. You got Wasim and Shoaib and even Brett Lee, and you want to put Mitchell
said
Johnson
greats.
and Dale Steyn.
Yeah.
These men are such massive personalities, even off the field.
Yeah.
And their look, their hair, their action.
Jimmy was a rock star in his early days.
Yeah, he's got the golden spikes. I
Yeah, if
remember
you go back and you look at those hairstyles.
he's orthodox.
Yeah, in that sense, like if you look at him, I mean, he's got a lot of emotion. You can see him getting angry, but I mean,
Yeah.
he's nowhere near the likes of Dale Steyn when it comes to emotion or his expression of it. I mean, in the first innings, he had 2-3 catches drop, and this man was just exasperated because he should have been on 600 a long time ago. So
Fair enough, though.
It's taken a while, and good catch by Joe Root to actually get him to the mark.
Yeah. It carried fairly quickly. Majid keh rahe hain, Afzal brothers, which one of you is Kami, which one is Umar? There's actually 3 of us, so one of us has to be Adnan. So
well, we know who's who.
all right, Ahmad, because you're the bilateral
Right.
party here, we'll let you decide. And you know 3 of us fairly well.
Yeah, so I go with Masad being Kami.
That's good. I'd take that.
Asad is Umar Akmal for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And Ahmed has to be Asad because he's
Adnan.
It's Adnan, sorry, because he's the most consistent of the 3.
Yeah, true.
Most understated.
Assad would have at some point in his life green lips. That's fair.
Not just green lips, like I could see him getting kicked out for
Yeah.
for the kind of things that Umar Akmal got kicked out for.
119 for 3. And also, he's the most talented out of the 3. So
And Asad Akmal, the most potential.
yeah.
Forever a youngster.
65 overs gone, 119 for 3. There's your answer. Many thanks for all the compliments, Zen and Gopi. I'm not going to read them out loud
Why not?
because it feels like a lot of self-vanity.
I'll do it.
Fazan is saying, Jimmy is the sexiest bowler I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, I used to make my hair like Jimmy at one point, not gonna lie. A-levels was a dark time.
I had a faux hawk for a while.
Not just a faux hawk.
You had a faux hawk with Sir Hill and Sadiq.
Yeah. No, that was a proper mohawk. I meant
Yeah.
Jimmy had this thing where it'd be spikes from the front and then raised right from the back. Everything else was flat.
Did you do that?
I was like, that's it.
That's
This
it.
is my hairstyle.
Did you tip them in some gold?
No, I
No.
didn't go that far.
You had to
but
go
yeah.
back to your parents. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. Still live with them, so.
Good defense there. They're coming through for a quick single. Nice to see the ambition from Asad Shafiq, or maybe he just wants to get off
What
strike.
ambition?
Maybe he just wants to get off strike.
I think Khwaja's turned him correctly. He's a mental midget.
Well, he's not.
Although that's
just-
offensive to little people.
Well, he's vertically challenged as well.
Yes, mentally too. He's also nearing 1,000 wickets in his first pass career.
Ridiculous.
975. I think I can't remember the last time a modern fast bowler has picked up 1,000 wickets.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, probably some Englishman who's probably played 1,000.
You really
county
think
matches.
of it? Well, Wasim Bhai has 414. And how many does Waqar have?
370, I think.
373.
380. Yeah.
So he could potentially have as many wickets as both of them combined.
Yeah, but okay. Consider this.
Yeah.
Waqar Yunus had his 373 in about 80 odd matches. So if he'd played the same number of matches as Jimmy Anderson, there is a chance that he might have been somewhere close. But again, it's the longevity, it's the injury-free periods, it's the consistency that matters.
We
It's
did
not
a
about
short
buts
podcast
and ifs.
on Waqar Yunus being a better test bowler than Wasim even, with his average and his strike rate.
Exactly. And then you have his strike partner in Stuart Broad, 514 test wickets, 808 first-class wickets. So both of them to have come out in the same period for England is remarkable for them.
Beating the outside edge of Asad Shafiq, you could see why he wanted to get off strike.
87 miles per hour, Jimmy. Young man, Jimmy.
38 years of age, my goodness. When I meet a 38-year-old right now, I consider them old.
I'd be lucky to make it to 38.
What?
I'd be lucky to make it to 38.
Yeah, exactly. Considering our lifestyles, 38 seems pretty decent right now.
Exactly.
This man is bowling at 87 miles per hour at 38. Goodness.
Broad की भी 514 विकेटें हैं. Wicket.
And he's had a pretty decent summer, has Broad.
Yeah, Broad's been good. I mean, that match where he was dropped against the West Indies really ignited a fire in Stuart Broad. But he's got 143 matches for his 514. He is younger. He's only 34. So if he plays another 2 to 3 years in this kind of form, he might actually overtake Jimmy. But for sure, Jimmy is the more skillful bowler.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Nice defense again. Bat coming down in time for Asad. And again, speaking of Stuart Broad, he did throw his toys out of the pram at the beginning of the
Rightfully
summer.
so, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, given the kind of performances that he's put out, and to be dropped for Mark Wood or Jofra Archer, who haven't done too much with the ball, right? Jofra's just been struggling and toiling away in the rest of the series, so I think Stuart Broad had the right to be upset.
Emil, we asked Junior, we asked the comments, but we'll get your insight on this as well. Out of 10,
Yep.
what are you going to give Pakistan on this 3-match test series?
Agree with Junior.
Gonna give him a flat 5?
Oh, I thought he said 6.
He said
and
5.
He downgraded.
Yeah, he downgraded.
No, I think a flat 5 would have been if we had done nothing out of the ordinary. I think our bowling's been good.
Yeah.
You know, the young guys have come in and they've put in some good work. The batsmen, on the other hand, have had starts. They've not capitalized besides Azhar Ali and Shan Masood. So everyone else has been a bit of a flop. But we've seen some fight. Abid Ali in this particular innings, you know, he batted his ass off for that 160, 70 deliveries that
he batted a lot of time.
Exactly. So he's done well. Rizwan's done well. He's been I think he's been the
Top scorer?
top scorer. Plus he's been the brightest spot in this tour. His
MVP for Pakistan for sure.
Yeah, his keeping for sure has been on a different level to everyone that we've seen this summer. And also a lot of Pakistani keepers in the past haven't done as well. So he's been the brightest spot for me.
The first Pakistani keeper to score 250s in England.
There you go.
On one tour.
Yeah, and to not have dropped any catches, not to giving away any buys and extras the way that we saw Jimmy Butler and Dowridge do. So
yeah, and he was keeping up to Abbas.
Yep,
which is difficult.
Exactly. Plus the spinners, so he's done really well. I think 6 is the right verdict. We haven't done anything exceptional, but we haven't done anything too poorly either.
Dom Best into the attack, 121 for 3. Or Pakistan just looking to close out today's play and get a well-deserved draw. I'd like to add,
I think we just need to stick around and not let this go the other way, because again, 14 overs from now, the new ball is going to be due, and that's going to be the most testing period here for Pakistan.
That's a good point. But again, even when we consider the batting, Emma, they batted 236 in the first innings, right?
Yep.
And in the second test, sorry, and then in the first test they got 326. The only one failure out of the 4 innings that they've really batted is the 169.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was when they were setting a target, which wasn't, the target was good enough.
It was okay, but the thing is, that impetus or that momentum that we always talk about edged away from Babar Azim. He was trying a hard cut. This time the under edge goes past the keeper, goes past the slip, and this should hit the boundary. Yes, it does. 4 for Bobby.
N.Yod is asking, how many overs do we have to survive for a draw?
34, I think, at this point. 33.
So, my understanding, and as I was reading the conditions for today, is that the last 15 don't have to be played.
They don't have to be, but
if
the
thing
teams
is, agree.
Exactly, but I think the thing that it will come down to is England's willingness, because I think at any given point, given the fact that there are only 7 wickets to go, England will be looking
even
for a
with
victory
15
here.
To play, yeah?
Yeah, even with 15 to play, especially if it starts to become a bit overcast and you have approximately 15 overs with the new ball.
Yeah,
why not give it everything you've got? Because winning this test match sends them to number 2 with a very close gap between them and India in the ICC Test Championship. But keeping it at a 1-0 is advantageous for Pakistan. So this is something that will be in Joe Root's mind.
Played away to square leg. Well, not mid wicket now. It's going to pick up a single. But the 2-0 would be such a misrepresentation of what the series has been like.
100%, yeah. That's what I've always said, that sometimes the stats are not telling the entire story, and that's been the case. Pakistan have been extremely close with everything that they've done, bowling, batting, fielding, but it's just been a matter of a few sessions here or there that's really taken the game or the series away from them. So 2-0 will not be the right representation.
Fawad Alam Stan is asking about Jimmy's podcast, Tailenders. I've listened to a couple episodes. I enjoyed it. I think Jimmy is very likable off the field as well.
Yeah, he's well spoken too for a Lancashire boy.
Yeah. And we've got a couple people from Germany, Frankfurt and Stuttgart. Speaking of Germany, did you watch the Champions League final?
Yes, I did.
What'd you make of that?
It was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I expect a lot more goals.
Yeah, I think both the teams were very reluctant in the first half, and honestly, PSG had some good chances.
They should have been 3-0 up in the first half.
They should have,
which is such a massive thing to say, but they should have, because it was just
exactly
easy chances.
Mbappe and Neymar both had some easy chances, and then this is what we saw with Bayern Munich even in the earlier games. There were chances for both Barcelona and Lyon early on. They missed the openings, and then Bayern capitalized, and lucky for them, they kept it to 1-0. It could have been 2-3, 3-2, whatever.
I was listening to Arsene Wenger before the game started, and I don't think there's many better people that know football. And he was saying that Bayern's defense slightly susceptible to early goals.
Yep.
And then as soon as the match started, PSG had that opportunity.
Exactly.
But with somebody like Bayern, you just can't give them that chance, that room,
no.
that you're gonna miss chances. And I'm not talking about like, oh, this could have been a goal. No, these should have been goals. These,
Yep.
especially, we're not talking about ordinary players. We're talking about probably top 2 out of the top 5 players in the world.
Which two?
Like out of the top 5 in the players,
Mbappe and
both
Neymar?
Mbappe and Neymar would be in the
Yeah,
top
yeah,
5.
they're in the top 5 for sure. And I mean, just purely on individual skill alone. But the issue that I kept seeing was that both of those guys were trying to take on too many defenders on their own, too many
Yeah.
dribbles, just trying to do everything as a one-man show. And it wasn't working out. They had some cutbacks that they should have put away, but they didn't. And in the end, Bayern Munich were the more dominant team and the more deserving, in my opinion, too.
Speaking of dominance, Babar Azam has quietly moved past 2,000 test runs.
Yeah, it's been something of a turnaround in his career for the last year and a half. He's been one of the most consistent batsmen in the world. It's a bit unfortunate that we didn't get to see Babar score 100 in this tour, but you never know. He might go for something crazy here in the last 20-25 overs.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't.
I hope so. I hope so too, because I think we also need this side of Babar Azam. You know, that grit and grind also needs to be there in certain situations. You need to be the guy to just, batten down the hatches and stand around when things are tough and things are tight. So
Yep.
it's Babar's turn to take Pakistan to
In
a
fact,
draw.
We were speaking to AZ about this yesterday because this situation is not really one that Babar's been in before.
Yep.
Essentially, he's batting to save a test match.
Absolutely.
And he's not done that in the past.
Yep.
And a word on Neuer. Obviously, it's not 2012 when Chelsea got past him, but he was just remarkable. Playing that high line of defense, you need a sweeper keeper.
He's their 11th defender. I mean, he's their 5th, 6th, whatever defender. This guy's just camping outside the box. Anything that goes over the top of the defender, he's just there to clear it away.
How high was that line?
Yep.
It was literally at the edge of the circle at some
Yep,
point.
Yep. And that's why they had so many chances, especially down the left side with Kimmich, and even they were attacking Davies, who was kind of poor for the reputation that he'd built over the past 7 or 8 games.
You say that about a Canadian?
I have to. I mean, got to tell the truth. He was a bit nervous in that first half. He was messing up his crosses too. But, he came through as well. He had a decent performance in the second half.
Definitely not nervous after the game, though. Got Drake to follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
Seemed happier about that than his medal.
I think it's a big achievement for anyone who's,
From Canada.
2021 from Canada. I mean, Drake's recognizing you, riding the bandwagon, says a lot about Drake too.
I mean, Drake has been pictured in, I think, all top football club jerseys.
Yeah, he was at Chelsea at one point with
Yeah.
Drogba, and then with Rio Ferdinand at United,
Yeah.
and probably at City at some point too.
Maybe should learn from Lil Wayne. He sticks to his sports teams.
Lil Wayne is loyal.
Yeah.
Drake is not. These hoes ain't loyal.
Comments coming in. Has Neuer retired from national duty? I don't think he has.
I don't
he's
think he has.
captain of the
Otherwise,
German
yeah,
side.
Ter Stegen would be quite happy because
Yeah.
he's been knocking on the door for some time. But Neuer is just chilling there. I think at some point Bayern had an ultimatum regarding Neuer being in the national side. I think they put down something about dropping certain players or not playing or something.
Okay.
If Neuer was dropped, so Neuer is a permanent fixture in that German side.
128 for 3 after 67.4. Australia have flown in. They're already in England now.
Yeah,
And
it's going to be a good series for Australia. They're going to have a limited overs tour of England, not playing any test matches yet. I think the Ashes are next year.
Yeah.
But Australia have a much improved limited over side. They've had a resurgence as well over the last 12 months or so since the last World Cup.
I don't see it, though. I don't see them going past England.
I think England are a much tougher side, but the way that their bowlers and batsmen have finally come around Australia, I think they'll give them a harder time this time than they did last year.
Yeah. Zen was just saying Davies ऐसा खुश हो रहा था Drake followed him कि Rahman खुश हुआ था after Pakistan selection in T20.
Yeah, but the story there is, something extraordinary, right? Those are the kind of heroes that people want to see and people want to talk about.
Yeah.
Kid from a refugee camp moves to Canada at the age
Ghana,
of 5,
yeah.
Ghana, goes on to play in the Champions League, goes on to win it in his first 8 matches. So, and the kind of performances that he's given too. It's not just something.
What a drive! Beautiful looking shot from Babar Azam,
fielder
but
there.
good fielding from it off. Are you happy with Marina's work this summer? I'm pretty content.
Yeah, Marina's doing a good job.
I don't know if she needs a raise. I'm pretty sure she makes enough. But great work for Chelsea this summer.
Yeah, and also some faith being shown in Frank Lampard by the management. You know, they're getting him the players. They saw what he did in the first season, finishing in the top 4.
Yeah.
Without any signing, having that ban in the summer, the transfer ban that we had. To go on with a group of youngsters and give him that position was quite a good summer, quite a good season for Frank, and now he's getting a good summer out of it. So
a lot of young talent in the front, and then the experience of Silva in the back.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Chelsea have been buying the young talent. You know, they're not going for these sold out, washed out Arsenal level players.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going for
dropping names.
Who the hell buys Willian?
I mean,
we were glad to let that.
They're developing this habit now
of buying like Chelsea rejects.
Yeah. Well, Petr Cech's not a reject.
Not a reject, but I mean, again, he was at the ass end of his career.
Yeah,
and
he was.
And
he made a lot of mistakes.
That's what I'm saying.
Arsenal.
Mr. Chelsea went on to cost them the Europa League, cost them the FA Cup. So, all there for Chelsea. I'm not too sad about William leaving. Honestly, he was getting on my nerves.
128 for 3 seems to be the Asad Shafiq and Babar Azam partnership now getting on England's nerves. Partnership of 20 runs off 7 overs.
Yeah. I think that first breakthrough might have brought on more wickets in England's opinion, but Asad Shafiq should just come out. He's steadying the ship a bit. Babar Azam's looked confident and consistent, so it's going to be difficult work for England.
Another beautiful drive. He's been looking for that. This one should go, yeah? It does, all the way for 4.
Trademark Babar Azam plants his left foot across his body and drives us through the covers with ease.
I'm a big Virat Kohli fan, and you're not a big fan of the fact that I'm a fan, but
no, sir,
aesthetically speaking, I think Babar is actually better looking as a player.
Babar's better looking in all aspects compared to Virat Kohli, and I will not have any second opinion about this.
Virat's got a pretty decent fitness standard right now. He's got those abs.
Have you seen Babar's abs?
Got the hair. Oh, Babar's got the abs now?
I haven't seen them, but I'm assuming.
Okay, fair enough. He does have pretty decent fitness standard.
Yes, he does.
Cutaway this time from Babar in front of point.
Just need to see which actress he marries to really match up to.
And
Virat Kohli.
if that actress can have the same impact that Anushka's had on Virat.
Yeah.
Because he's turned him into an absolute.
I mean, all things aside, he's become a gentleman off the field at least. He had attitude issues. He was very unlikable. He's still very unlikable in my opinion, but he's come around and people can live with him.
Nice clip from Asad Shafiq to mid wicket for a single.
Yeah, I think any Pakistani right-hander that gives away their wicket to an off spinner should be dropped from the side immediately.
So, Abdali,
drop him.
Asad Shafiq,
100%. Asad Shafiq को तो मतलब various reasons की वजह से जो उसको drop करना चाहिए.
And what did you make of the ball that got Fawad? There was a bit of turn bounce there.
It was, but again, Fawad was just poking at it with his hands, and I've said this so many times. You can't play in these conditions with just your hands.
Yeah.
When there's so much happening with the ball, spin, seam, swing, whatever, you have to be better than that. Your positioning and your judgment needs to be a lot better than that. So.
And when we speak of playing with hands, we take a look at Yunus Khan and Babar Azam.
Yep.
A lot of times in England, when you see them bat, both of those players have a tendency of playing on the front foot, but they use very soft grips. In fact, in the first test match, we saw Babar taking one hand off of the handle.
Yeah.
So help yourself by not getting those genuine edges.
Exactly. And England, one of those places that we've seen in the past where batsmen have scored behind square on the offside because they've used soft hands. If you go back to even English players like Ian Bell, they were very good through that region because he was able to cushion that ball and just guide it along the ground. He got a lot of boundaries there. He's a very good cutter of the ball as well. So it's something that you need to keep in mind. And we've had a lot of great Pakistani batsmen who've been very good at that. Late dab, late cut to third man. Mohammad Yusuf and Zamam were some of the finest to play that shot. So
135 for 3. 69 overs gone. Stewart brought into the attack. And it's the first time today he's going to have the ball in hand.
Yeah, England have had a bit of reverse swing going on since yesterday. We've been watching them control the ball a lot better than Pakistan did. There was a definite approach to their innings. They're trying to keep one side shiny and one side dry. Mix up.
The interesting question about that, because it leads me to a point that we were discussing on here yesterday. You've got Waqar Yunus in Pakistan's camp, who's arguably one of the best reverse swingers of the ball.
Yep.
And Pakistan are not getting any reverse, but their opponents are.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something we've seen from England over the past 5 to 10 years. They've become one of the leading sides in the world when it comes to reverse swing and, managing their ball to make it happen in various conditions. Pakistan, on the other hand, have not been doing this. I think we've been overly reliant on our spinners, and with that, we've not really taken care of the ball as much as England do.
Yeah. Srijan with a very high praise for Babar Azam, saying he is the most aesthetic batsman for me since Sachin and Azhar.
Sachin and Azhar? Yeah, okay, Azharuddin was a aesthetic batsman, especially on the leg side.
But Lara, like Majid saying, Lara was a much better looking batsman than Sachin.
Yeah, because again, I'm not talking about
Left-handed
Curry. I
club.
mean, exactly. Being left-handed really adds an additional touch to it because, I don't see Sachin Tendulkar as one of the most stylish batsmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, again,
Very
he had a great-
industrialist in approach, actually.
Yeah, he had a great drive. He was very well balanced and, again, very wristy and everything. But then you see Brian Lara coming out with that high back lift and those flowing arms and those exceptionally powerful drives. He was the complete package, It was the looks plus the power,
Yeah.
which is something that you look for when you look at dunkers, for example.
Yeah.
Vince Carter had that grace, had that style, but also the power.
I think across the many sports that we follow,
Yeah.
there's always like nitpicks. Like in cricket, you have the drive. In football, you have maybe the free kick. In basketball, you have the dunk. The skill that fascinates me most is the dunk. I know might be the simplest out of all of these,
Yeah.
but it's remarkable.
It's defying physics.
Yeah,
It's-
it's remarkable how you do that
Yeah.
with your wrist smashing into metal
Yeah.
and jumping over
And
the
also
top, and it's just
Also, the various movements that players now pull off, in the air. How much time do you have?
yeah. I mean, the dunk contests. I remember when I was so disconnected from the NBA.
Yeah.
I still used to watch dunk contests.
Yeah. And imagine that the dunk contest is probably some of the poorest dunks that you will see.
Yeah,
There are much better dunkers out there who make their entire living on just dunking. The amateur dunkers
Yeah.
or these.
the Harlem
these-
Globetrotters.
I mean, the Harlem
Was it
Globetrotters are
different?
more about like the other kind of skill sets that they have. But I mean, generally speaking, if you look at the dunkers that you see on the streets or on these videos
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
YouTube, they're remarkable because the kind of creativity that they show
Yeah.
and the kind of athleticism that they show. You don't see that in the NBA, or I mean, at least in the NBA, people are more timid when it comes to trying new dunks.
Zane's got a good point of view here, saying aesthetics-wise, Muhammad Yusuf se better koi nahi tha, but can't say this about his views. Fair enough.
Yeah, I
Off
think
the back foot this time, straight to point for no run.
great batsman, not as great a man.
Yeah, but he's got a coaching job now as we hit drinks on day 5.
He's also
7
very
years gone.
interesting because
Yeah.
I mean he's a turbulent kind of personality, very outspoken in the wrong ways. I've seen.
You know what's interesting about this, though, and I've given this a little bit of thought. We live in a very transient media culture, in the fact that if you don't say enough and you don't say it often enough, you're kind of very quickly forgotten. And if you don't want to be forgotten,
Yeah.
sometimes the only way to be relevant is to say stupid things or say loud things. And I don't mean like the decibel. I mean like audacious things.
I understand.
And when I think of the likes of Javed Miandad and I think of the likes of Shoaib Akhtar, who are probably the two more audacious speakers on Pakistan cricket at the moment,
Yeah.
I constantly finding myself thinking they're saying these things on purpose to stay relevant, which is such a unfortunate thing because both of them are legends of the Pakistan game. But I find that this is the audacity or the extent that some of these pundits, so to speak, go to are not actually what they truly believe. Rather, they're connected to the media hype that they kind of need to
Yeah.
pander to at the moment.
I agree. I think their need to stay relevant really takes over everything else. I think a lot of times you see people just saying things and you can clearly see if they were to reflect on what they're saying, they'd probably take it back. But I think Javed Miandad has gone senile. I honestly think like
Yeah, that
the
cap
things,
doesn't help either.
the things that are coming out of his mouth these days, they need to be checked. He needs
Did
to
you-
have something.
Just look at the photo of Imran and the cricket on the back. He was in his prime minister's office,
Right.
and there's 2 or 3 of, I don't know, his advisors or whatever, his employees
Yeah.
that are sitting there. And on the back, there's like a couple of TV monitors, and one of them has the cricket on.
Got to stay true to
swear.
your origins and true to your country. I mean, what bigger way to support your country than be prime minister and leave everything else?
But I feel for like the Pakistan team because it's like there's pressure enough being in Pakistan cricket.
Yeah.
Then there's a pressure that the Pakistani Prime Minister is watching you. Then there's a pressure that the Pakistani Prime Minister is
Imran
like the
Khan.
greatest cricketer of all time, arguably.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's just.
But I mean, it should motivate you, right?
Motivate
pressure
you,
aside,
yeah,
but
yeah.
also like realize what you're playing for. Because if maybe Imi realizes this guy's not for me, then not gonna make it.
I mean, when we did speak to Basit about this, and he
Yeah.
told us calls do come up from upstairs.
यार अब पूरा हमने जो डोमेस्टिक स्ट्रक्चर है उसको देखा है कि इमरान खान की फिलॉसफी पे जो है उसको उन्होंने रीमॉडल किया है.
Yeah.
Again, his love affair with the Sheffield Shield and everything, we've seen it. We've seen
Yeah.
the flaws in it too. And it's something very typically Imran Khan when it comes to, the way
But
that
a
he's
lo- but
executed it.
A lot like most social political things, first class cricket, domestic sports is not a cookie cutter approach. It must be tailored to where you are.
Exactly, and that's the thing that we were talking about with Bazit, where he was saying that there's so many flaws that come up right away, because again, first of all, you don't have teams that exist as geographical locations,
Exactly.
which makes a
So
huge.
what are you identifying with?
Exactly, makes a huge impact. You have again these structures that have now come up and limited a lot of cricketers because they're playing on borders or in remote areas that don't really connect with any major region. So suddenly you go from having a small team, maybe
Yeah.
someone in Aptabad or something was playing there, now struggling to make that northern side because majority of the players are coming in from Pindi and Islamabad. So these kind of things start to have an impact. So again, look at where you are, look at what kind of restrictions you have and what kind of positives that you have.
Make a product that's tailored to the market. It's
Yeah.
that whole Uber versus Kareem debate we've had.
Exactly.
136 for 3.
Also,
after
for some
7
reason,
overs.
I've been getting Uber ads on YouTube for the last
Yeah, same
week.
same.
And it's just a black ad.
It's just a logo.
What happens in that ad?
I
haven't been-
skip, obviously.
Yeah, I do too, but it's still 5 seconds of that. I mean, who's paying for that frequency?
Honestly, sometimes we've
That
talked
CPM
about this.
and all that crap
Yeah.
is going. I mean, speaking purely from a marketing perspective, if that was my brand and I found out that this guy has seen the ad like
Dude.
10 times,
Yeah.
someone's messed up in that agency.
Some of these people, like the money that goes into these ads and how ineffective they are,
Yeah.
it just shows
No,
that
and you and I know how valuable budgets and things like that are. I mean,
it's hard to
stepping away
get
from
just
cricket,
dollars, and these guys have thousands of them, and they're just
wasting them on
being
this.
flushed. Like I sometimes even think of like, imagine if a project like Change of Pace had a tenth of that marketing budget,
Tenths?
or a hundredth.
100th.
Inside edge will go down to short fine leg for a single. And Majid is saying, I would say dribbling is more impressive than
As a
dunking.
skill? No, look, the thing is with dribbling, you're not going to get.
Well, you don't dribble the NBA. Apparently, everybody just travels now.
That's true, but I mean, when you talk about aesthetics, it's a lot more to do with dunking or, for example, your shooting form.
Yeah.
Those are things that people will take away or try and copy. Your dribbling, not so much.
I'm a sucker for the fadeaway 3.
I think it's one of the hardest shots.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, we're talking about Kobe on Kobe Day.
Yeah.
He had one of the greatest fadeaway shots of all
Did.
time,
He
modeled after Michael Jordan, of course. But again, the execution of it, the grace was perfect.
Majid was referring to football dribbling. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
137
Eden Hazard,
for
man.
3. Eden Hazard, Cristiano Ronaldo,
Yeah.
Messi, probably the best out of the.
Yeah, Messi
terms
with
of
his like,
dribbling.
little tiny touches. I don't know how he gets things
Yeah.
done, but he's incredible.
I remember 08 or 07 when Ronaldo was peak at Man United,
Mm-hmm.
and he would do these step overs even against Ashley Cole.
Street
Amazing.
ball kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
it was so like we always watched like Joga Benito videos, and then
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a man doing them in the Premiership.
Exactly. And then also like the fact that he made famous that Ronaldo cut, that
Yeah.
chop back.
Yeah,
Or the chop. That's
Exactly.
I mean that's synonymous with him now. Any player that does
still
it,
does it, I
you
mean.
think of Ronaldo, right? There's very few moves in world football that are synonymous with players like that. You have Zidane with his roulette, little 360 on the ball.
yeah.
You have the Cruyff turn,
Cruyff turn.
these kind of things. You have Quaresma with his outside of the foot shot.
Outside of the you have Ronaldinho with a couple,
Yeah, Ronaldinho.
but
of
he was
course.
an amalgamation of all these.
A lot of Brazilians had that, step over kind of thing. Ronaldo had that. So to have something that synonymous with you is iconic.
Majid is kind of alluding to how difficult dribbling can be. He says, trying those step overs caused me to pull my groin once.
I don't doubt that.
And Gopi Singh, have England given up? मतलब वोक्स और ब्रॉड से बॉलिंग करवा रहे हैं.
भाई जो रूट से बॉलिंग करवा रहे हैं.
Sorry.
जो रूट से बॉलिंग होगी. 97 matches, 28
But
wickets.
have they given up?
I don't think they've given up. I think they're just buying time to the new ball.
That's not a good strategy.
It isn't, but I think
Considering this is like day 5 final session.
true. But I think when you realize that you're putting in the effort, they're a little behind the over rate here as well. So a lot of those things come into play. Plus, again, Joe Root bowls a little bit faster than Best does, so you might get something off the wicket. I don't know.
And it's going to become like Asad Shafiq with all of his flaws. It's going to be much more difficult to get him out through an off spinner.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying. Given the experience that Pakistani batsmen generally have against off spinners, to get out to an off spinner is usually considered disrespect.
So Roche has the same idea as you do. He's saying that they just want to get to that 80th over as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because again, when you look at the ball in the last, I think 5 or 6 overs, you haven't seen any reverse swing.
Nothing today.
Yeah, Jimmy Anderson's going to take a bit of a break because definitely he's going to be the one taking that new ball. Wokes is good with that new cherry, so maybe him as well. But yeah, I don't see much happening. Babar Azam, out of nowhere, comes down the track. He's lofted this high in the air. One bounce through to long on for a 4. That was unexpected.
That was, yeah, you don't really see that from Babar in Test or one-day cricket. But did you see the clouds there?
Yeah, I think something's coming in. So maybe England knows something that we don't. But Babar Azam very unexpectedly advanced down the track, and he's hit this over long on. Now, imagine getting out to that.
Yeah.
And we'd be shitting on
No,
Babar.
I mean, he knew there was no fielder there. But if he
True,
missed,
but
if
it's
he
just
missed
that.
it, yeah.
What if there was a bit of turn or the ball kept low or something? I don't know.
It's quite windy out as well.
Yeah, it suddenly picked up. I think there might be a storm on the horizon.
Yeah, very dark skies.
I don't think the game continues if there's another rainy spell. I think.
Oh, you only have like 20 overs done.
Hand shaking and everyone goes home.
71.5 overs. Joe Root and Dom Best bowling in tandem for England. They look like they want to head to the new ball as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think they just want to get through this 8 over phase and then get to that. I mean, we're pretty much through with the Test series anyway, and we've looked past it already. We know what the outcomes are and everything.
Yeah.
I think we're looking forward to that T20 series. And I mean, historically speaking, over the last couple of years, Pakistan have been a good side. We've had some struggles.
Format
For you? Favorite
No,
format?
for
I thought you
Pakistan,
were saying
yeah.
favorite for me. Yeah, favorite format for sure. The question, though, is England, with all their prowess in the limited overs format, and given the depth that they have and the players that they have, can Pakistan win a match?
The problem that I see, and again, I've had this discussion with you as well, when you compare formats, the importance of bowling actually decreases with the length of the format, in my opinion.
Right.
In Test cricket, 20 wickets or you don't win the match.
Yep.
In one-day cricket, you do need to get wickets.
But 20, exactly.
But
10
but you
isn't
can win
vital.
without. Like
Yes.
India in 05, 06, they used to win by taking 4 or 5 wickets even.
Exactly.
And in T20, it's all about how quickly you're scoring. We've seen West Indies side 6 down, and they still get to 200.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter,
True.
right? So for Pakistan, that becomes a massive challenge when England are batting till number 9.
Yep.
Where do you stop the runs?
And also when you don't have that kind of firepower in your own lineup.
There's no hitters. Essentially no hitters.
Exactly.
The
You're
one that
relying
you
on-
might have is playing the CPL right now.
Exactly that. Plus, you're relying on Shadab Khan, who's just coming into his batting form, so to say.
He's
And
not a
Imad Wasim
batsman
was not
yet.
very consistent. Whose only shot is down the ground. So if he's not getting that particular delivery, he's not going to be successful. And you see the clouds are suddenly rolling in. There is a storm on the horizon. It's a quick gathering of
I'm always
dark sky.
I'm always surprised at the fact that this country invented cricket.
Yeah, it's not a very outdoorsy country if
Yeah.
you think about it. And I mean, there are primary sports played throughout, basically the winter. Which also always bothered me. Like, why is football played during the winter? But you've seen how teams have struggled with the summer
take a
heat
water break.
and the water breaks and the subs. So it's been a...
We underestimate the intensity of those 90 minutes.
Yeah, because, I mean, running up and down, you're covering, 15, 16 kilometers
Yeah.
at a time
Yeah.
in some games. So
Comments are asking about player ratings out of 10. Maybe we can do that in a jiff.
yeah, I think maybe the comments can start it off.
Yeah.
Since
Majid has already begun. 144 for 3. Nice defense there.
I think in terms of player of the series for Pakistan, it's kind of a unanimous pick.
Rizwan, yeah.
Rizwan.
By far.
I think he's...
Some gap between him and the next.
Who's your second?
I think second would probably be the likes of Shaheen was very consistent.
Yeah, but not enough wickets.
Yeah, but
to
you
show
can
for.
argue maybe that he was not as good with the old ball, but it wasn't a bad effort. It's his first tour in England,
Yeah,
a test tour in England. So I would say that, yeah.
Yasser
Shaheen.
perhaps.
Yasser had the most wickets for Pakistan, but wayward. Very wayward.
True.
I mean, sometimes he would pick up wickets, and more often than not, if he's bowling a 6-ball over, 3 of them would be poor.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those performances that looks a lot better on paper than it did in reality.
I mean, the best bowler of the last innings was Fawad. 2 for.
I mean,
Two
yeah.
for
Speaking
48.
of wickets, sure. Jimmy's got a good record against the West Indies. Likes to play against them.
And Pakistan featured on this top list as well.
Yes, they do. 6 for 17 at Trent Bridge in 2010, that infamous 2010 series. Could have been something else. I mean, lots of ifs in Pakistan.
Good team.
Good team. No, not just a good team. It was a young team, but it's just that those two guys, again, when you talk about 20 wickets, those 20 wickets were going to come.
Cut away in front of square this time.
Yes.
What about Salman Butt, the captain, without all of the fixing and stuff? He still was a cricketer before then. Would you make of him as a captain before all of this happened?
I think his stint was too short to really judge him on anything. But, I mean, again, given the fact that you did win a test match against Australia.
In England.
Yeah, in England. I mean, we were playing on neutral grounds at that point. But,
Yep.
you know, all of those things were starting to look better for him. I never liked Salman Butt as a player.
Okay.
Completely honest, before all of this happened. But, you know, he was starting to come into his own as a batsman. And as a senior statesman in that side, you know, he might have actually been a decent captain. It's just, again, ifs and buts and all that stuff. What ifs, you know.
146
we never
for
got
3.
to see it.
Babar 33 off 61. Just beats short
bit
leg.
aerial.
Well, I think it's been taken by short leg, but on the bounce.
Yeah.
Bracey on as substitute fielder.
Yeah, he's been on for Ollie Pope, who got injured in the field yesterday. He was diving to stop a delivery from running onto the boundary, and he seemed to have pulled something or hurt his left shoulder. So Bracey's been on there. And as soon as Bracey came on yesterday, he threw a ball at the stumps at the non-striker's end. Jimmy Anderson was bowling, and there was no one there backing up.
He got the overthrows, yes.
And he got the overthrow. And if looks could have killed, Jimmy Anderson would have had this man alive.
I felt for Zach Crawley dropping a catch.
Yeah, but I mean, at that
young
point,
man.
oh man, at that point when you have 2 deliveries go to hand or go
And then
to
Broad dropped
fielders,
one.
and then Broad dropped an absolute dolly. The fact that he actually got the run out wasn't so pleasing for Jimmy either, because that should have been his wicket.
Exactly.
He had 3 lined up, but the second new ball is now available in 6 overs. England are just going to rush through these 6 and then pray and hope that Jimmy Anderson can conjure up some more magic. Maybe add to his 600 test wickets to date. Comes down the track, Asad Shafiq, and just dabs it back to the
Take a
bowler.
look.
146 for 3.
Some of these player ratings. Majid has put Shan Masood at 6 out of 10. That's fair.
I think that's fair.
Abid 6 out of 10. I think I would actually maybe bump him up to 6.5. Babar at 5 out of 10. No, I would probably give him a 6 as well.
I think Babar has done enough to have at least a 6.
Yeah. Azhar 6.5.
Yeah, that's flattering because of that last innings, but maybe if you give more weight to the...
Just 6, I think, is fine.
I think it's
But
5.
he hasn't been horrible. Zan has given Babar 4 out of 10. I think that's a bit harsh.
I think just really high expectations.
69 and 46. He got runs.
And he's also on 33 right now. It's just that, he got out in this first innings very unexpectedly, actually.
Yeah. And Shafiq 2 out of 10. Fair enough.
I think 2 is overstatement.
Rizwan 8 out of 10. That's good. Fawad 4 out of 10 is harsh. He didn't even play enough.
Yeah, I think Fawad is, again, he's a 5 because he hasn't done anything for too much. 2 innings.
Shadab 5 out of 10. He actually I probably would have given Shadab 7.
7's a bit high. I think 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he played that stupid shot. And
He did, yeah.
That was the second innings. He didn't really do much, but he looked good for those 45, and I'm hopeful of seeing Shadab more in this test lineup. Minus 200 chance.
Yeah, Roshan, the ratings are for this series specifically.
Yeah.
Majid Abbas is 7 out of 10. I think all the bowlers are 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think all of them could have had 7
But Zakaria is giving Yasser 9 and Majid 7.
Some
I think
disparity.
Yasser gets 7 at best. Because again, he got the wickets, but he was very poor a lot of times.
Flattering to deceive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramiz is given Asad -1.
Yo, I'm
His
telling you,
slip
man.
catching is at least 1, man. It's not
Yeah, I think the slip catching maybe just brings him back
to 2.
to
not,
to 0.
Yeah.
I think Asad Shafiq's position is probably one of the weakest in this lineup right now. I think this is
With Harris breathing down his neck.
Yeah, I think this should be a conversation that is had once the next series comes around. Do you actually play Asad Shafiq, even if it's at home? Do you need that in your test team going forward? Is he one for the future? What is he bringing?
Who, Shafiq?
Yeah.
Shafiq's not one for the future.
Right. So what is he bringing? Are you just playing him for that experience?
Yeah, that's the only thing he has going for him at the moment.
But
He doesn't have form or anything else.
But is it valuable experience? Because I feel like we're just there for a bad experience.
It's
Even
gonna-
this delivery's not. Oh man.
Oh, he's made it.
Oh, it's touched it. It's just touched the rope. Cut away by Babar. They're gonna send it upstairs to have a look.
My other issue is that, okay, if you want to play Harris, go ahead, play him in New Zealand. But please don't debut someone in New Zealand.
Maybe they'll give Heather Ali a go.
That, for me, is very ridiculous. Because I know he scored a lot of runs in
Yeah.
the red ball format in Pakistan.
Yeah.
But in the PSL, when we watched him, he would look to get going, get in, play his shots, and then give his wicket away.
Yeah, but okay, fine. I'm not gonna judge him entirely on the PSL because that's the kind of format that's there, and he also had that batting lineup behind him.
Yeah, he had
But
the
when you
license
come-
to kill, yeah.
Exactly, but when you come in playing in test matches, of course he's also going to be compared versus Asad Shafiq, who is somehow still the most prolific number 6 in the history of the game. So
Because it's number 6, right?
exactly, it's a meaningless place in many aspects, but also for a new batsman coming into this lineup, it's a great place to start
Yeah.
because you can
So
score those.
You're
kind
going
of
with
runs.
Heather if you give you the
I'm
choice
not
between
going
Harris.
with Heather. I'm just saying that if you're gonna give someone a go, give them a go early on in
New
their.
Zealand, though.
It could be New Zealand. Why not? I would prefer if he plays in Pakistan first,
Pakistan or
like
even
Abid
England
did.
is better, but New Zealand is a hellhole, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, Abid, having this confidence in him
Yeah.
from the 3 test matches that he played in Pakistan, those runs actually helped him,
Abid has faced 900 balls in 9 innings
is
in
great.
Test cricket,
which is great.
which is for a Test opener exactly what you need.
Yeah, especially in England, we saw the stat that this was the longest opening partnership over the last 10 years or 12 years or something. So, the kind of teams that have visited England, and for Abid and Shan to be the pair that's faced the most, that says something.
Ramiz is saying, I gave him -1 for the slip fielding because otherwise I would give it a -2.
Fair enough for me. I don't disagree. I think Asad Shafiq overall has been one of the most disappointing batsmen of this series and of the past few. Wind's blowing. Clouds are coming in. It's suddenly gotten darker. Babar Azam lets that go on length. Bounces over the wickets. 151 for 3. Pakistan 3.4 overs to go till the new ball. Babar 38 off 71.
That's when things will really liven up.
Yeah, I think, again, if Pakistan can survive those 4 or 5 overs from Jimmy.
I'm
then-
worried about Babar because he likes to play the drives. Oh, what a shot in front of
Cut away
square.
this
Babar Azam
time.
find the boundary. It looks like that's one of the shots that he played in the World Cup last summer.
Yep. Rocked back on that back foot and he's smashed it through the offside. Babar now trying to score some of those meaningless runs that Asad Shafiq is known for.
Hey, get that opportunity.
Just
38 off
fill it in,
70
stat
now.
padding there. But it's good. Helps his average. Let him stay not out. Keep him number 1 in that statistic.
Yeah.
Most runs and highest average since 2018.
Faisal is saying Harris is not a long-term solution. I would realign the lineup to play Imam in the top order. Interesting.
Look, Imam definitely is now coming into this.
Do we need to talk about Shan Masood?
I don't think we need to talk about Shan Masood just yet. There are still problems there, and he might be exploited or exposed in New Zealand with swinging conditions. But I think he's done enough right now to at least stay in the side. You're not
It's
gonna
frustrating though.
It is.
Following a 150 score
and
with single
exactly.
digits
Yeah.
throughout the tour.
Yeah, and even in the first innings here, he had the same problem. He was just not able to play around his front pad. And Jimmy Anderson again was able to target that, exploit that weakness, and he picked up the wickets. But he was better in the second innings. I think he had a bit more determination and
Yeah,
he
it
knew what
looked
he
a lot
needed to
better.
do.
Down
Ooh.
leg side from Best this time. What about the T20s? We had a very interesting suggestion from Sarosh that AZ and I were on board with. Let's see if you agree to this. We have 2 keepers on this side, in Safraz Ahmed and Mohammad Rizwan. Both of them have similar batting issues.
Right.
Down the track from Babar this time, over long mid-on, and it'll go one bounce over the rope. He's taken it to the spinners, and rightly so. He moves on to 48 off 75. He's showing that he's not the kind of batsman that's going to stick around. Even when Pakistan are looking to save the test match, he's going to play his shots because he's so good behind them.
I think he realizes that there isn't anything in this wicket anyway, and he's just trying to
He also has a bit
Take
of a
advantage.
reputation.
Like I said, बस meaningless runs उसने भी बनाने हैं यार, थोड़े से तो बनते
बनाए
हैं
कि नहीं?
हाँ 100 बना ले.
और अभी कमेंट आया था, बड़ी अच्छी कमेंट था कि असद के मीनिंगलेस रन्स will hurt the team, his won't.
Exactly.
I think it's a good
बाबर
idea.
के लिए कॉन्फिडेंस बूस्टर है.
Yeah,
और
and
हमारे
also-
लिए भी यार मजा आ रहा है. असद शफीक जैसे टुंडे को तो हमने देखना नहीं है, उसके लिए हम पैसे नहीं दे रहे.
15 off 45, 161 off.
A little bit of Dom
three.
Sibley.
Oh, have you ever seen him bowl?
Man, he looks like one of those guys from Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, he does.
You right?
He does. He does. He looks like the
He looks like
the toned down caricature.
Yeah, उसको लग रहा है कि मतलब उसकी शक्ल जैसा लगता है उसको हमेशा से कुछ फंसा हुआ है.
Cubs हुई भी है.
हाँ, कब्ज हुई हुई है उसको.
161 for 3. First class career. He's got an average of 66 and 4 wickets in 80 matches. So he's definitely not your go-to bowler. And he's bowling a leg spin here. Oh, that is poor. That is
And
horrible.
still not put away by Asad Shafiq.
यार वो bouncer कराई है उसने.
भाई जो भी है रख के मारो, इतनी हल्की बॉल है.
Come back for 2. What was that?
Little bit
delivery?
of bounce there.
Look at this. It's almost a leg spin bouncer.
Reminds me of some of our friends when they bowl. Shout out Agha.
Agha doesn't really bounce, does it?
It does. That's all it does.
163 for 3.
He's a leg spin bowler who bowls no leg spin.
There's a full toss outside.
Full
off.
toss. That should be another easy couple for Asad Shafiq. So poor.
Oh, just taking one there. Why?
Because they realize that Asad Shafiq is going to waste these deliveries. Might as well give... No, they've taken 2.
Yeah, they have.
Jog back for a second. Dom Sibley not invoking a lot of confidence with his bowling, but maybe he'll pull one out of his ass.
Wait, what is this weird? And they've got a slip in place. My goodness.
Yep.
There's a wide leg spin delivery. Yeah,
ये तो वाइड थी यार.
He's not giving it.
Michael Goff ने कहा जल्दी खत्म. Oh, no ball.
No ball.
He's overstepped.
That's
how shit he is.
This is proper cricket shithousery.
Yeah. बस करो, अगर नहीं खेलना घर जाओ.
166 for 3.
सबका वक्त जाया कर रहे हैं ये.
Acha, and Jimmy's on the other end waiting for the new ball. He's
Yeah,
bowling whites and no
exactly.
ball spinner. He's bowling whites
Bowling
and no ball.
extra deliveries.
Oh, yeah.
Again a no ball. He's bowling from a 2-step run up और उससे फिर भी जो है वो अपना पैर लाइन के पीछे नहीं गिराया जा रहा. मतलब ये बंदा है या Oh, beautiful
I feel
delivery
like
now.
Asad's gonna get out to him, and that will be like the summary of
And
his
Dom
career.
Sibley of all people.
यार देखिए धोनी ने केविन पीटरसन को आउट किया है टेस्ट में.
Well, his only test wicket.
Exactly.
You've seen that clip of him?
In the IPL.
Yeah.
Oh man. Sibley, this time
I
driven.
mean,
a bit
Alistair
on.
Cook also has a test wicket.
Yeah, I remember him celebrating it. I can't remember.
Ishant
Yeah,
Sharma.
Okay.
Yeah. Down the leg side. और हमें पीछे से इंस्ट्रक्शंस आ रही हैं.
क्या आ रही इंस्ट्रक्शन?
The boss man, AZ. उनको मसला हो रहा है.
उनको गुस्सा आ रहा है. उनको बोले हम
अंग्रेजी समझ नहीं आ रही
पंजाबी में
है.
बात ना करें.
तो ऐसी हरकत ना मैं करने वाला हूँ ना तुम करने वाले हो.
कौन सी हरकत?
पंजाबी में कमेंट.
नहीं पंजाबी में नहीं.
हमसे उर्दू में नहीं होती, हम पंजाबी में करेंगे.
ये देखिए पीएसएल में मैंने पूरा एक ओवर किया था उर्दू में. ऐसी बात नहीं है.
बस उसी दिन मुसाद की अम्मी की इसको कॉल आ गई थी कि बेटा दोबारा कभी नहीं करना. हमारी ख़ानदान की इज्जत है. घर वाले भी सुनते हैं ये शो. हमने ऐसे बर्गर नहीं पाले
यार. Driven mid on for a no run.
मुसाद का थोड़ा जो उर्दू है वो थोड़ा खराब हो जाता है.
सरखेल की तरह नहीं, इस तरह ना करो.
नहीं, सरखेल के तो रे और रे के अंदर मसले हैं ना. वो तो बर्गर और गड़बड़ के अंदर बीच में कोई डिफरेंस ही नहीं होता. वो लड़के को भी लड़का कहता है.
They're saying meaningless runs is a bit harsh to say. Another wicket and we can maybe bundle out within 20 overs. What should we expect from Babar right now? To block? No.
Play his natural
meaningless
game.
in the sense of the game. I don't think.
Yeah.
This is the way he should play. I agree with.
Exactly.
I think we both agree with the way he's playing.
Yeah.
And
Plus, I think he's confident right now, given how flat the track is and the kind of bowling that's on offer. I don't think he's worried about
Butler is
giving his
having a
wicket
proper
away.
laugh.
Yeah.
Just
Let him
imagine,
get to another 50.
you look at football, you look at tennis, basketball, like these athletes.
Garbage time. This is what's referred to as garbage time minutes in the NBA. So, you know, the guy who's the 15th dude on the bench.
Wow.
He sits on the very end, never gets to
Who's
play.
that
He's always
guy?
a cheerleader. Comes on for the last...
Crusoe? What's his name? The guy, man. Caruso.
Yeah.
He looks like he should be the 16th man.
But he's a very good player.
He's a good player, yeah.
He's a good player. He's a good addition to that Lakers side. Speaking of the Lakers...
Dropped 30 on him last night.
Not even caring about that. That jersey.
Oh, it's a
I
beautiful
need
jersey.
me a Mamba jersey.
I think
I'm
it'll
not
be,
even a Lakers fan. I just want that jersey.
It is a beautiful. It's one of the best sports jerseys I've ever seen.
Dude, imagine if Pakistan had that.
Black with green accents. Oh, edged. Goes to fine leg, short fine leg for
Who
single.
would not buy that jersey?
That's true.
ऊपर से sleeveless हो हमारे जो हैं वो flabby arms वाले boys हो.
Jofra Archer giving it a bit of a turn
Little left arm
between overs.
showing
He's
off
showing
his
simply how
left
to do
arm
it.
spin. I mean, I remember at one point Sohail Tanveer was also practicing a little bit of left
Seriously?
arm spin. Yeah.
There's nothing that man can't do in
Yeah.
T20 cricket.
James Faulkner at some point was also practicing it. And I can't remember who it was against Pakistan.
Faulkner just went off the grid, didn't he?
Yeah, he kind of had a huge decline. He also wasn't that great a player, but
World Cup man of the match, final man of the match.
true. And he also had this amazing chase against India in India. They
Yeah.
were chasing almost 400 runs, and this
Mhm.
man did it for them with the bat. वो भी अजीब सीरीज थी हर मैच में 350
मुझे याद है 800
और चेस हो रहे हैं
800
तीन विकेट्स मतलब 3 विकेट्स के नुकसान पे जो है इंडिया चेस कर रहा है
150 रोहित
ऑस्ट्रेलिया
कर रहा है,
चेस कर
150
रहा
धवन
है
कर
एग्जैक्टली
रहा है।
फॉकनर जैसा बंदा यार सेंचुरीज बना रहा है 1.2 overs to go to the new ball, the 169 for 3.
But they like that kind of cricket in India. I don't like that.
Yeah,
cricket.
I'm not a big fan of that. I want more balance in terms of the bowling side than the batting side.
For me, the perfect one day to watch if Pakistan are not playing is 270, 275.
Yeah, it's a good
Because you're never out of the game as the batting side,
Exactly.
and you don't need to do like something crazy as the bowling side.
और पिछले 50 साल से जो वनडे क्रिकेट हो रही है पिछले 30 साल से 250 275 हमेशा से वो स्कोर रहा है
वही
कि
था।
दोनों टीम्स जो थी वो इंटरेस्टेड रहती थी. वो अलग बात है कि पहले जो 60 ओवर के मैच में या पूरे दिन में 275 बनते थे, अब जो है वो 2020 के अंदर 275 बनते हैं.
True.
As someone watching in the ground though,
Yeah.
that's what you want.
What?
If
तो
you're
350
watching if you're watching in the ground, you want sixes and fours क्योंकि आपके पास कभी बॉलिंग का एंगल नहीं होता. टीवी ने बॉलिंग को जितना मतलब खूबसूरत बना दिया है, जितना एक्सेसिबल बना दिया है,
Yeah.
बैटिंग जो है वो सिर्फ इन द ग्राउंड देखने वाली होती है. क्योंकि अगर छक्के चौके लग रहे हैं आप ग्राउंड में बैठ के कहीं से भी एंजॉय कर सकते हैं. बॉलिंग में बॉल मूव हो रही है, स्पिन हो रही है, कुछ हो रहा है, आपको पता ही नहीं चलता. इवन इफ यू आर सिटिंग बिहाइंड द बॉलर,
That is true.
it's never something that you're enjoying. So
But I do like when when we were so dominant is when I really got addicted to Test cricket. When Misbah's side we used to whitewash,
yeah,
greenwash England and Australia and all those sides. When we were students, the VIP section would be free to go to in Test matches.
yeah.
I would take my laptop and sit there and watch days on end. It was actually I enjoyed it.
तुम VIP सेक्शन में बैठ रहे थे ना.
Yeah, that's the thing.
वो अलग बात है.
It was a proper couch, but it was free to go. Like I didn't pay for
No,
it.
I know that, but I'm just saying like generally if you're not sitting there, अगर तुम स्क्वायर लेग पे बैठे हो या ऑफ
फिर
साइड
नहीं
में
मैं देख
बैठे हो
सकता टेस्ट मैच.
तो आप क्राउड के लिए होते हैं. एक तो मतलब हल्ला गुल्ला करने,
हाँ,
क्राउड के साथ
atmosphere वगैरह
शोर
सही
वगैरह मचाने, एटमॉस्फेयर के लिए. दूसरा जो है छक्के चौकों के लिए.
Yeah.
हमने भी जितने PSL मैचेस देखे हैं या जितने पाकिस्तान के मैचेस दुबई में देखे हैं.
So what's the best live match you watched ever?
Oh man, it's a good question.
I have a very clear answer to that for me.
That test match, the day night one.
नहीं वो तो एक इनिंग्स थी ना, वो तो एक
यार मैंने कोयटा पेशावर का एक
the
सेमीफाइनल
playoff, the
प्लेऑफ
early
देखा
one.
था. एग्जैक्टली
वो
वो मुझे
जबरदस्त
याद है. वो काफी अच्छा था.
50 for Babar Azam, 50 off 80 runs, second half century of the series, 15 tests, 50 in 29 matches and 500s. Needs to work on that conversion rate. Inside edge gone, I think.
Are
Yep.
you kidding me?
Asad Shafiq is giving his wicket away to Joe Root.
Are you kidding me?
At least not Dom Sibley. Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
That is on the brink, 2 balls away from the new ball, and the new batsman will be.
I
in
will just
place.
repeat. Are you kidding me?
That is bang on average from Asad Shafiq. Well, not even average. I have to say that's below.
-2 इसके वो एक निकालो. स्लिप कैचिंग की वजह से भी निकालो इसको.
को -3 करना पड़ेगा अब.
यार ये मतलब किस लेवल की बेगैरती है इसकी.
2 बॉलें रहती थी यार.
जो रूट को उसको खुद मतलब वो उम्मीद भी नहीं थी कि यार विकेट मिलेगी. वो बस वैसी बॉल करा रहा था कि यार ओवर खत्म हो, नई बॉल आए. लांती
172 for 4.
गया मैच.
And much like Karachi today, this Pakistan team is drowning.
Wow. I mean, if anyone is listening in from Karachi, I hope you are safe and I hope things
Maz
are
is-
better
Yeah.
in your area because the videos that we've seen come out today. Yeah, it's water world out there.
Hashtag are you kidding me, Faizan? 172 for
Shit,
4.
man. मैंने अभी क्या कहा था, ऑफ स्पिनर को विकेट देना और उस ऑफ स्पिनर को विकेट देना जो कि उनका प्राइमरी बॉलर भी नहीं है. वो बेचारा वैसी पार्ट टाइम गिराने आया था.
The problem here is that now we might lose this match.
I'm telling you, things have now just suddenly gone the wrong way. Babar's runs are no longer meaningless. They mean everything. All eyes on Fawad Alam, even though there are no eyes in the
He
stadium.
should be fine against spin, I guess, at least.
भाई 2 ओवर बाद जिमी एंडरसन ने आके जो है इसको
वो नहीं
ठक ठक ठक. And also my first stint commentating on Fawad Alam batting, so not really looking forward to this either.
Yeah.
Son of Karachi, the son of Adam.
I think, by the way, we should keep Khwaja on commentary because he's been relentlessly shit posting on Twitter. He's putting memes against Kumble.
यार ठीक है वैसे कुंबले भी जो है वो क्या था
He's
freaking cheat
he's पानी फेरा उसकी 600 विकेटों पे
600 मुझे तो उसकी 10 विकेट्स पे आज तक हैरत है कि किस चीटिंग के साथ उन्होंने जो है वो 10 विकेट्स ली थी.
Faisal saying credit to Shafiq for making Babar's runs meaningful. Team player.
Yo, seriously, and also credit for Shafiq for making Joe Root not feel like shit, because Joe Root's had a shit series too. If we're talking about ratings for the England side, Joe Root's probably at a 1.
Yeah, true. He has been very ordinary with the bat.
Shane Warne called him Ellen DeGeneres yesterday. He's like, he's turning into Ellen DeGeneres day by day.
इसका भी शो ना बंद हो गया. 172 for 4. 2 slips in place. यार ये क्या वैसे हरकत है यार.
Oof.
आप देखो कितनी कॉन्फिडेंस आपने जो रूट को दे दी है.
जो रूट को क्या कॉन्फिडेंस दे दिया. फवाद आलम का डिफेंसिव स्ट्रोक चेक करें.
बात की कोई गलत बात नहीं है.
फुल फेस ऑफ द बॉडी.
ही इज अ गुड बैट्समैन. क्लास बैट्समैन. क्लास मतलब नंबर्स वाइज.
थर्ड क्लास. व्हाट नंबर्स.
यार आप उसको खिलाओगे नहीं तो
मीनिंगलेस नंबर्स. Numbers mean nothing. There it is. Jimmy's got the sweater off.
अभी देखो यार.
That new ball is coming in, and Pakistan are going to be 194 for 7.
And then proper, we have to make a thrill out of everything.
और बस फिर अब्बास और शाहीन और यासिर खड़े रहेंगे कि यार नहीं नहीं
भी आ गया umpiring
यार ये तो बिल्कुल बेंडंग है.
So someone tweeted him and replied, he's like, yeah, stopped on the way to the CPL to umpire a little.
Yeah, Ben Dunk's playing in the CPL. I saw him going off there too.
Actually. CPL
is one of those series like I'll watch it if it's there, but not really one that I actively follow.
नहीं आसिफ को तो मैं देखता हूँ ज़रूर.
हाँ अच्छी बात है. मतलब हमारे वहाँ players हैं. आसिफ है.
तनवीर को मैं नहीं क्योंकि अब वो पाकिस्तान की तो नहीं खेलेगा.
So Kukri's never been like the most exciting guy to watch. Early on in his now he's just one of those like
he's a character.
No.
But yeah, even his bowling is not that.
Man's been married like 4 times.
What?
Yeah, he's got like a track record there too.
Wickets off the pitch as well. 172 for 4.
हर जगह down करे सुहेल भाई, कुकड़ी भाई. He's a model as well, by the way.
He's a model?
Yeah.
What is he modeling?
यार पता नहीं बस
chin masks.
पिंडी में लगे हुए होते हैं. Yo, imagine selling a mask to him. Probably wears 2.
Oh my god. 172 for 4. 4 slips in place. Leg spin.
Banana swing.
Leg spin fast. I think that was seamed though. It bounced and then.
Yeah, but it was swinging in the air, and Jimmy is also just.
Gopi is saying it's one of the most disgusting actions of all time. So Hilton Veer.
Yo man.
But he's a Fawad Alam of actions, by the way.
यार उस जैसे आए हैं और भी.
Who's that?
Robin Jackman type.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it? It was Robin Jackman, right? With the wrong foot.
It was, yeah.
Also, Bumrah was
swing.
horrendous action.
अब बेहतर हो गया काफी. देखो, like especially when he's bowling in tests.
या मैं फिर कुछ कहने वाला था मतलब गलत हो जाएगा. कैंसिल हो जाऊंगा मैं.
172 for 4 after 80.2. नहीं he's a lot fluid now. But जब आया था पहले तो he wasn't even looking forward when he used to release the delivery.
जो भी था वो मतलब उसके बाजू कहाँ होते हैं. वो अजीब फंसा हुआ जैसे मतलब braces.
Mike Proctor, much the same.
Mike Proctor, sorry, I was thinking Robin Jackman for some reason. He was a commentator, that's why. Virat Kohli
inside edge.
For
horrible bowling action.
Yeah, for as aesthetic as he might be with the bat. Well, I think we watched that Breakfast with Champion.
Yeah, he's like नहीं होती.
He's like भाई मुझसे इसके अलावा होती नहीं है.
सब bowling यही होती है.
Horrible action, man. As technically sound as he might be, he just he can't.
It's such a great episode, by the way.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's where you watch him and you realize like he is likable.
Human.
Yeah, he's human. I mean, for all his antics aside.
Is he the equivalent of what football has in terms of Ronaldo?
Honestly, I feel like he's LeBron James.
Acha?
Yeah.
Mid-wicket, and I think this might go all the way. No, just be a couple. LeBron, why would you say he's LeBron James?
Because he's got a similar sort of style. LeBron James also very likable off the pitch, off the field.
Yes.
Comes onto the court, he's a crybaby. He's doing things that people don't really like. He's a flopper.
Only difference is LeBron James has a spine to stand up to his government.
True. Yeah. That's the difference. Yeah. You have, people like Kohli.
But the culture in America is very different. So
also, I mean, I don't want to get into that.
175 for 4
political
after 80.4.
Yeah.
No, but like in terms of The regiment. You saw the pictures recently of Virat. He looks
Yeah.
even fitter,
Yeah.
which is insane because
उसका सर और बड़ा हो गया.
right? It
हाँ.
looks like a bobblehead now.
Yeah, exactly.
बॉडी और लीन हो गई और छोटी
Exactly.
हो गई.
वैसे ही उसका सर इतना बड़ा
और
था.
2014 की 15 की जो 11 का वर्ल्ड कप है उसमें he
Yeah.
looks
He was
not fat.
He was a young, chubby man.
but not fat, just
wasn't
like
chubby, he
little
wasn't-
round around the edges.
Exactly. मतलब मुंह शू भी उसका
Yeah,
गोल था. सारी
exactly.
चीजें जितनी
175 for
different
4 और 2014 की इस पे इनिंग्स दिखा रहे थे इंग्लैंड में जो उसने की थी.
थी. Yeah.
Where he failed, the tour that he failed. उसपे भी he's like a little round around the edge.
Yeah.
Hey, in terms of fitness excellence, I think there's no greater athlete in cricket than him.
I think he really took that route that many other athletes do from other sports.
Yeah.
I think he's mentioned he's a vegan or vegetarian or
Yeah,
whatever.
true.
He's also very determined in his fitness because he realizes to play the long game you need to have that fitness. Plus he's in his 30s now, so he only has a set number of years and he needs to extend
Yeah.
that.
The next World Cup might be his last.
Ooh, an away swinger this time by Jimmy. He can't
Fazan
believe
is
it.
being the Pakistani mom in the chat saying Kohli to ab kamzor lag raha hai. And Faisal is saying Tanveer is a faster Paul Adams.
Paul Adams was still worse than Sohail Tanveer.
And Zain is in with some duas. Ya Allah, please new ball पर azab बनकर ना
Ameen.
गिराए.
आमीन. मुझे लगा और दुआ होगी. लंबी दुआ करवाएं.
बस ये दुआ.
Channel your inner डॉक्टर साहब आमिर लियाकत.
हाँ.
एक हो जानी चाहिए. वैसे किसी को कहो कि यार कोई एक लंबी सी दुआ लिखें, हम इज्तिमाई ऑन एयर दुआ करवाएंगे अगले 10 ओवर के लिए. Stewie Broad is going to take the new ball on the other end. We weren't expecting anything different. Wokes hasn't been around today.
News coming in for Sir Khil.
Uh-huh.
Manchester United captain Harry Maguire has been found guilty of repeated bodily harm, attempted bribery, violence against public employees,
Attempted
and
murder.
insult after his arrest on the Greek island of Mykonos.
He'd probably be fined like £80,000 and released for nothing. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, fair enough.
But is it really a loss for United if Harry the Fridge
He's been one of
Maguire?
the worst signings of the recent 5
He's-
years.
I can't believe they paid 80+ million. I mean, he's as bad as Kepa.
I was
Imagine
see-
a defense with
I was-
Kepa and Maguire.
Oh my goodness. 175 for 4. 81 overs gone. 3 slips in place. Oh, it just beats the outside edge of Babar Azam's bat. The Karate Kid. Right on the money.
Bobby looking like Asad Shafiq there.
Wow. Don't hold.
Little tentative prod in front of the off stump. And it's just beating the edge. It was a scramble seam delivery from Stuart Broad.
Zan Kenny should have been found guilty when he convinced United to buy him.
Yo, honestly,
It's a good one.
that Leicester side were, again...
But he was good in that Leicester side, right?
Yeah,
That's-
but-
he had a good
but-
season.
You can be good in that Leicester side.
They're champions.
No, he wasn't in that season.
He wasn't in that side.
No,
yeah,
he
true.
wasn't.
No, was he?
He came from Hull City. He came from Hull City. He's a fraud.
Conte was in that side. Conte was instrumental in that side.
Conte was in that side.
Conte and Mahrez ran the show,
I
basically.
mean, you saw what happened to them in the next season when they're in the Champions League.
Mm.
I mean, the Conte twins weren't there, so... Mahrez, Vardy, though, those three... But also their defense was good. Wes Morgan, even for all his slowness, was a good defender. He did the job
I mean,
for them.
if you don't have pace as a centre back, we saw with the 2015 John Terry,
Yeah.
you can play with a deeper
Intelligently,
line.
yeah. No, Wes Morgan and Robert Huth were their...
Oh,
that's
a big
on the
appeal.
pads.
Thing, it's got an inside edge, I think.
I think it was just going down the leg side. No, it's a leg by. Well, the umpire signaled it as such, but...
Robert's got to be careful here.
Mm-hmm.
He could really open the floodgates with one more wicket.
Ellen is asking, should we review or should we keep it?
They've got all three intact, from what I understand.
I think it's because it was going down the leg side. They must have ran out of time by now. Can't review it.
The
but
timer didn't even show up.
Again, exactly. Babur just can't let his natural instinct get the better of him here because there are still a few overs to go in Pakistan.
16 and a half.
Exactly. You could see leg stump where it struck him, but I think that ball was always going down. Look at ball tracking, struck in line, but yeah, just going away from the stumps. So he's lucky there. Plus the height was also in his favor, but Babur just needs to be a little bit more careful here. 16 and a half overs is a long time. It's a good hour and a half.
Yeah, clipped away. Off.
Should be one.
Yeah.
The big man, Jofra Archer. He's been a disappointment this test series. It's been a...
Would you call him a disappointment?
Yeah,
Why?
Yeah, because he hasn't done anything.
Who has he been worse than as a bowler? Only Broad has been better than him.
I think there's been people who are being kept out of the side, like Sam Curran and Mark Wood, who could have been ahead of him, but he's there because of that reputation for being a fast bowler. he hasn't really done much. He hasn't even intimidated our tail. So
Actually, this is an interesting point that you make, and a discussion that we've had
yeah,
about Jofra Archer's role on the side.
Yep.
Mitchell Johnson has been mentioned a few times in this conversation.
Yep.
And just give me 1 second here.
facing
178 for
some
4 after
technical
81.4.
difficulties.
Tell me about Jofra Archer in terms of what he's supposed to, what England really want out of him, because we've seen conversations say that he needs to bowl quicker,
Yeah.
and needs to constantly bowl 85 plus or 87, 90 plus, in fact,
Yes.
which is a taxing task in Test cricket. And the other thing is that he needs to also he also needs to bowl longer and more consistently in his line of length. Now, isn't that a double-edged sword in the sense that you can't really have both?
No, I think what has been said so far in the media and even by the commentators is that Jofra Archer needs to be used for short stints, 3-4 overs at most, but he needs to go full tilt. He needs to come out and bowl at 90 miles per hour because he's there with that ability and he's there with that role. There's no hiding why Jofra Archer is in that lineup.
But did you read the recent piece on Shoaib Akhtar and of how sometimes people are kind of like, it's a bit of an injustice to Shoaib, the fact that he's only confined to his pace and his speed.
Yeah, but Shoaib was more skilled.
Right, that's what I'm
the
saying.
difference. Yeah.
So,
Jofra doesn't seem to have that because we've seen him bowl with the new ball and he's wasted it in that first Test match, if you recall, against the West Indies.
West Indies.
He was wasting that new ball and he hasn't done much with the old ball either. So if that's the case, then he's the guy using his speed, his bounce, and those lengths that are difficult to play.
It's just like you don't want to compartmentalize a cricketer and say that he's only going to be good for pace.
Sure, but then you have guys like Neil Wagner, who plays for New Zealand. His only skill set, or his primary skill set,
to bounce people out.
To bounce people.
And it worked against Pakistan.
It's worked against many sides, and he
Yeah.
doesn't bowl at a very quick or rapid pace. He's bowling bouncers at 80 miles per hour, but it works because
Accuracy of the bouncers is very good.
accuracy plus that's what he's good at. So if Jofra Archer is good at bowling fast, why does he need to change that, or why do people expect him to change that? And also, he doesn't need to prove anything. If they bring him on for that role and they tell him, Jofra, even if you don't pick up wickets, if you just go out and bowl 90, 92, 93 miles per hour and you create difficulties, and through your difficulties we pick up wickets, that's an assist, and we'll be happy with that. He'll be kept in that lineup. Mark Wood is in the squad for that exact same reason. So if Jofra's not doing it, Mark Wood's going to come and do it.
178 for 4. That's a fair point. So you want more defined roles in this England pace attack. This should go all the way for 4. No square leg in place, and Babar will pick up another boundary here. He's not stopping. Doesn't matter what kind of ball you're using.
Yeah, it was a loose delivery from Jimmy Anderson on the pads, and Babar Azam just on the front foot waiting for that, using those kalais and turning it square for another boundary.
You got Mark Wood, Sam Curran that are being kind of, Jofra is taking up that space.
He is. And I mean, look, again, once...
And Mark Wood, I think, was it Mark Wood that missed out on the World Cup because of Jofra Archer?
David Willey.
David Willey.
Yeah.
Willie's not a bad cricketer.
Willie's not a bad cricketer, but again, Jofra Archer in that World Cup was there for his pace.
He won the World Cup with his pace.
And he was there for his death overs. So it was a very defined role. You're going to bowl in this time, you're going to bowl these lengths and lines, and we expect you to pick up wickets or stop runs.
Jofra and Plunkett were England's best bowlers. Just squeezed down past point by Babar, and this might go all the way too.
At least.
It's gone all the way, yeah.
It has. Dom Bess.
Careful.
Those tired legs can't haul that in. Babar Azam with just a gentle push, and he's gone on to 62. There's 16 overs to go, as you said. There might still be a chance for a Babar century.
Yeah, why not? You'd have to score pretty briskly, but yeah.
38 runs in 16 overs. You never know. I mean, if he gets a few more boundaries the way that he's doing right now, he's going to be...
Yeah, he's not looking to stick around, so the runs are coming.
Yeah, he's playing, and I mean, this was nothing but a gentle push through the
Actually
offside.
worried for Dom Best
well
because his knee might have crashed into the advertising
Might
board.
be a blessing in disguise for England.
Well, they're preparing 2 spinners for India.
Yeah, they are, but then what about the second spinner? Why not let him play? Especially
Best
against...
and Leach?
Yeah, why not let Leach play against Pakistan? When
I don't know why didn't they play left-arm spinner against Pakistan.
Exactly. It's one of our most glaring weaknesses. Again, clipped away towards the leg side by Bobby, but there is a fielder now. Square leg will keep it to 188 for 4.
A lot of comparisons that are done between Babar Azam and Virat Kohli. I always find those comparisons very dangerous
And premature.
because Virat's grown in stature as the career's gone by.
Yep.
However, let's indulge in this conversation for a bit
Yep.
and go back to that 2014 tour that Virat Kohli was failed miserably at. His highest score was, I think, 46.
Yeah, he didn't cross 50.
He didn't cross 50 in that series. And there was that specific James Anderson line that he kept getting dismissed to. He used to play the drive excessively and fall over, head falling first, and kind of at not really fifth stump, but a little wider outside off.
5 to 6 exactly. Yeah.
And he would keep nicking them off.
Yep.
Now, let's say that 2020 Babar Azam is Virat Kohli 2014. Is that fair to say?
No, because I don't think we've seen something in Babar Azam here as easy to exploit as we saw with Virat
No.
Kohli.
I'm saying in time. Let's
Time wise, okay. In his career,
So
sure, yeah.
This is 2014 for Babar.
Mhm.
And what you just said is my next point. 2014 Babar, which is now,
Yeah.
and 2014 Kohli, which was in 2014. Babar's
Oh,
better.
really?
Yeah, Babar's better. He doesn't have that glaring flaw.
Yeah, he doesn't, and it's just a matter of him now scoring the big runs because, again, we've been talking about, him establishing his place in this lineup. He came into the squad when we still had Yunus, we still had Misbah,
Yeah.
we had Azhar Ali in form, Asad
Asad in
Shafiq
form,
in
yeah.
form. So he was the new kid. He had a lot to prove.
Hmm.
Now he's slowly being given that chance, given that position in the lineup. He can play, the longer innings, and he's scoring runs. Even on this tour, he's got 250s and a 40 something.
Yeah, 46, 69, and now
Exactly.
this.
It's just unfortunate that he didn't get that big score that would have really propelled the conversation
Yeah.
that Babar Azam is now
But,
finally here.
He was in the 2016 side as well. So this
He
is
was.
his second tour to England.
And the 2016 side, yeah, when he got hurt.
Right, so that doesn't count.
Yeah. Was
And
it
he was-
2016
he
or
wa- he wa-
2018?
2018.
2018.
And he looked
made
good.
63 on that.
He looked good
Exactly.
before he was dismissed.
Exactly.
Well, injured.
That's what I'm saying. He was looking good, and then he got the injury,
Mm.
and maybe that would have been something of a breakout series. But we're still on the cusp right now of Babar Azam just coming out and
Yeah.
having a series with 300s. We've seen him do it in the ODIs. We've
Yeah.
seen him do this against Sri Lanka, West Indies, whoever. He's made those runs.
Yeah. I'm just saying that there was a lot of conversation in 2014 about this being a fatal flaw. Obviously, Virat's done phenomenally well to recover.
Yeah.
He became the top scorer back in 2016 when he came back.
Mm-hmm.
Proper redemption story.
Yep.
Obviously, Pujara overshadowed him a bit down under, but he got runs there too.
Yeah. The thing was, Virat Kohli made 4 centuries, not in the last tour, the one before that.
Yeah.
They lost that.
They lost that.
Exactly.
He was the only silver lining.
But he was standing around, and that's what I'm saying. That series was really a breakthrough in the sense that Virat Kohli is scoring runs in Australia.
Hmm.
He goes on to England in the last series that they played here.
Yeah.
2 centuries, I believe. They lost that series as
They
well,
did,
but this was following the Pakistan series that India went, and people were talking about how good Virat Kohli was. Right now, Babar Azam is being talked about in the same wavelength, same discussions.
Same trajectory, I would
Exactly.
say. Yeah.
But the thing is, Babar Azam is still only 25 test matches into his career. Give him a bit more time. Let
That's true.
him play another 25. And if he's got 3 times the centuries that he does today, it's a huge achievement.
He'll be an all-time great for Pakistan.
He's already on his way.
Yeah. And let me see how many 86 test matches Virat has played. So yeah, 4 times many.
A quarter
Yeah.
of that for Babar
Comments
Azam
coming
so
in. So Roche is saying United conceded the 3rd fewest goals this season in the league. Maguire played all games. When I look at, again, stats are important, but sometimes they can be manipulated. He did have help, and he looked quite helpless when he was playing in terms of his individual performance.
They had an unsettled back 4 in terms of his second center back. So I won't take everything away from him. It's just that there were so many moments where we watched him play that he didn't look like an 80 million pound defender, where you had someone like Virgil van Dijk who was so dominant every time he played for Liverpool. We didn't see that with Maguire. You saw guys like Wan-Bissaka on the right back spot, more in tune with the game or making those big plays. Maguire was just he was a passenger.
Zain Mirza saying, I have a theory that Dom Best can't see properly, इसलिए sunglasses ज़्यादा पहनता है and bowls straight. Interesting. And Faisal is saying Pakistan are not really getting a fair share of test matches that might hold Babar back.
This is something that we always talk about, because if you look at guys like Cook, if you look at guys like Jimmy Anderson, he's played 15 years, 156 matches, taken on average 10 test matches a year. That's at least 2 to 3 series. Pakistan play at most 2 or 3 test match series, right?
I'll give you a statistic for the last 10, 15 years.
Yep. It's the
Last hour of the day now.
Yep. 15 overs to go.
Joe Root's wiry little smile. 6 wickets now needed for England, and an hour to survive for Babar and Fawad.
Yep.
Only Zimbabwe, Bangladesh, Ireland, and West Indies have played fewer tests than Pakistan.
And I don't understand that, because if you consider Pakistan as an overseas side or
Yeah.
as an opponent coming to visit you, it's a blockbuster side.
In England.
Not just England. I mean, even in Australia, if you remember the hype that was given, they haven't had the performance. I agree.
Yeah.
But in terms of stature, they're not,
Better than...
they're not a Zimbabwe. They're not a Bangladesh
no,
or the
of
guys
course
that
not.
they're.
Even in terms of viewership.
That's what I'm saying.
Commercially, they're great.
Plus, you have Pakistanis all across the world.
Exactly.
So, in terms of, ground support and everything.
They've called it.
They've called it. They've shaken hands.
That's a surprise to you, Emmett?
A little bit of a surprise, but I think they're giving respect to the fact that Pakistan have batted well, and they don't want to drag this on. I think maybe he's also protecting his bowlers here, because they have followed on and they've bowled 160, 70 odd overs.
Yeah.
So
The day will finish on Pakistan 187 after 83.1. Pakistan's draw, but Jimmy Anderson's day. He makes 600 wickets, the first fast bowler in the history of the game to do so. It's been a very stop-start series. The match one will still live in the minds of Pakistan fans. It's going to be a lot of regret, a lot of pain, because if you go back to that final session in Manchester, if it had just fallen Pakistan's way, then it would have been Pakistan's first Test series win in England after a very long time.
at least a draw.
Yeah. Well, at least a draw, yeah. The second Test match was plagued by rain, and we only got an innings and a half out of that, and that was a draw as well. And this one, England were in with a chance this morning. You would have backed them to take 10 wickets on day 5, but Pakistan have batted well last night. Azhar Ali with that 141 not out in the third innings, kind of a
Proves to be a match-saving innings.
match-saving innings, a bit of a redemption story for the Pakistan captain. And 1-0 out of 3 Test matches is not the worst series result for Pakistan,
Yeah.
but they deserved just a little bit more, I would say, considering how accurate the young bowlers were and how decent some of the batsmen were. But today is all about Jimmy Anderson, Emmett.
Absolutely. Jimmy Anderson leading the England pack off the field. A remarkable career, being applauded by the Pakistani contingent as well. 600 wickets. He's a hero to many. Many of these young fast bowlers like Naseem Shah and Shaheen Shah Afridi will look up to Jimmy Anderson.
Perfect hero.
He's a role model to many, many young fast bowlers. That longevity, the career that he's had. He's graying on the sides, but he has not shown any of that age in his bowling. I think another couple of years of Jimmy Anderson, one of the greats of the modern game, one of the greats of all time. I think it's something that we should cherish, something that cricket fans across the world will hold in high regard, that we did get to watch Jimmy Anderson in his prime.
He didn't have a crowd, but he had both Waqar and Wasim present.
And he's being hugged by Mushtaq Ahmed, who at one point was a coach.
Yeah, coach.
And perhaps a colleague as well. But it is all about Jimmy, like you said. The match and the series were a foregone conclusion. It was all about Jimmy getting that 600 mark.
Exactly.
Pakistan have done well to hold on to a draw here as well.
They've
given
done
the fact
terrific,
that you were facing almost 600 runs in that first innings, but they batted valiantly, especially Azhar Ali. Just have a look at that 600 from Jimmy. A very un-Jimmy-like wicket.
Got it on bounce.
He got it on bounce, on a length, and Azhar Ali was surprised too. But what a big wicket to get to. The captain of the other side,
rightfully deserved.
Who's batted so beautifully this innings. So a lot of questions here that'll be asked about Pakistan. A lot of futures at stake. A lot of people that
specifically Azhar Shafiq. I think that's the biggest one with Azhar 141.
He might have cemented, some of those positions that might have been occupied by other people. But I mean, just generally speaking, Pakistan do still have a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah.
Who leads you in the front? Who leads you in the future? Who is your one-down batsman for the future? And is this the same lineup that you're going to take into the next Test match, or will there be some chops and changes?
Pakistan's next scheduled Test match is going to be in December in New Zealand. That will be a very different challenge and a place where Pakistan don't do even fractionally as well as they do in England. But it's been an interesting series, a topsy-turvy series from us, from Change of Pace, as we like to call us, the home of Pakistani cricket commentary. This was our first ever Test series that we've covered. It's been a pleasure. It's been taxing at times. It's been dead at times. The rain has sometimes actually done us a favor, let us collect our breaths a little bit. It's been a new challenge for us all together, and all the new listeners that have joined us. It's been a pleasure. Honestly, there's never been a session where we've been left on our own, or we felt that there really wasn't feedback from the listeners, and we can't really express, despite us. That's what we do all day. We can't really express how much the listeners mean to us, and the comments that you guys send in kind of help curate the conversation and takes a little bit of our work away from us. We're not really going anywhere because on the 28th of August we're going to be live again for a
3
format
days.
that is completely different. 40 overs of wham bam cricket, and we'll be live for it from Ball 1 from us on Change of Pace Live. We will see you in a few days. Apna khayal rakhein. If you're in Karachi, make sure you stay safe at home, and until then, goodbye and good night.